The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. A plea deal accepted in the Water Search Corporation case. The company director pleads guilty to bribing Adrian Gibson. The teachers' union threatening industrial action. And the deputy prime minister says there should be penalties after that diesel leak in Exuma. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, July 22nd, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Stephen Hanna will be joining us. Also this morning, we'll get a preview of next week's Family Week. And later in Morning Blend Business, we are talking about tips and whether that should impact minimum wage. We'll get deep into that conversation that's coming up. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, a director of Elite Maintenance Incorporated pleading guilty to bribing Adrian Gibson, the former executive chairman of the Water and Sewerage Corporation, in order to receive contracts for landscaping and maintenance. Tanya Demerit, a parking attendant at the Bahamas Financial Center, took a plea deal yesterday which requires her to testify against Gibson and others in the Supreme Court. Last month, Gibson, his cousin, Rashay Gibson, Demerit, Elwood Donaldson, Gibson's campaign manager Joan Knowles, Jerome Missick, and Peaches Farquharson were charged in an alleged scheme to defraud the corporation. At the time, prosecutors did not accept pleas from the defendants because the matter was being fast-tracked to the Supreme Court for trial. However, the proceedings took a surprising turn when Demerit appeared before Senior Magistrate Carolyn Vogt Evans to accept a plea deal. Demerit pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bribery, conspiracy to commit fraud by false pretenses, and money laundering. She faced a total of 16 counts and told the court that she had not been coerced to accept the plea deal. In providing the court with a summary of the evidence which would have been presented at trial, Acting Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions Cordell Frazier and Demerit agreed to serve as Director of Elite. Said that Demerit agreed to serve as Director of Elite Maintenance despite not having a beneficial interest in the company. Frazier said between June 3, 2019 and March 23, 2021, Demerit and her co-conspirators defrauded the corporation out of more than $162,000, which was paid to Elite Maintenance for landscaping contracts. DeMerit agreed with the summary and was convicted. She was sentenced to 3 years of probation on condition that she remains on good behavior during this period. A breach of probation results in a 2-year prison sentence. She has until July 29th to pay $10,000 in compensation to the corporation. You can read more about the story in today's Nassau Guardian. Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson issuing an ultimatum to the government: sign off on salary increases for teachers within 7 days or face possible industrial action at the start of the new school year. Wilson saying, quote, "We've been at the bargaining table from May 25th, 2019, and as recently as this morning, I communicated with the lead negotiator for the government, giving them 7 days for us to sign off on a full agreement." She says that they've exhausted. They are exhausted at this time, and they've exchanged counterproposals 8 times, and they've been in hundreds of hours of meetings, and now they're ready to sign off on a full proposal so that teachers can receive their much-needed salary increases and benefits. Asserting that there is recklessness involved in the leak of 35,000 gallons of diesel fuel into the pristine waters of Exuma, Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper suggesting that there should be penalties levied at those responsible. Exuma's and Ragged Island MP, who visited the site of the spill in Georgetown on Wednesday, saying yesterday that the majority of the diesel has already been removed, but he says it is a live investigation. He says there was recklessness involved in his view and that there should be penalties. Cooper says the Ministry of Environment and the Ministry of Transport are assessing possible penalties in relation to the incident. 2 men killed in separate incidents. In the first, a murder. Police say that an 18-year-old man died in hospital after he was shot in front of his home on Peter Street. According to police, their initial reports indicate that the victim was at his home when he was approached and subsequently shot multiple times by an unknown man wearing a black ski mask, black jacket, blue jeans, and black tennis shoes. The victim was taken to the hospital via EMS, where he passed away. With the second incident, police say a man was stabbed to death after he got into an argument with another man on Paradise Island. This happened yesterday morning. A 29-year-old man is assisting police in their investigation. According to police, shortly after 8 a.m., 2 men got into an altercation near the docking terminal on Paradise Island. During that incident, the victim was stabbed in the upper body and later died. Police are asking for anyone with information to come forward. Overseas, a raid of Rio de Janeiro's largest complex of favelas that left at least 18 people dead, sparking renewed complaints of excessive police violence and igniting debate over how to handle crime ahead of state and presidential elections in Brazil. Rio authorities say 16 suspected criminals were killed in confrontations with police in a low-income shanty community, along with a police officer and a woman. The raid targeted a criminal group that stole cars and robbed banks and invaded nearby neighborhoods. Videos circulating on social media showed intense shootouts between criminals, as well as a police helicopter flying low over the small brick houses. Rio's police have used helicopters to shoot at targets, even in densely populated residential areas, as videos showed shots being fired from the favela at the aircraft. At the site of the raid, Associated Press reporters saw residents carrying about 10 bodies as bystanders shouted, quote, "We want peace." One investigator with Rio's police force says that officials would rather have just made arrests of suspects, but unfortunately the victims chose to fire at policemen, he says. And the UN Secretary General and the Turkish president due today to oversee the signing of a key agreement that would allow Ukraine to resume its shipment of grain from the Black Sea to world markets and Russia to export grain and fertilizers, ending a standoff that has threatened world food security. Last week, the sides reached a tentative agreement on a UN plan that would enable Ukraine to export 22 million tons of desperately needed grain and other agricultural products that have been stuck in Ukraine's Black Sea ports due to the war. The unblocking of the grain stockpiles will help to ease a food crisis that has sent prices of vital commodities like wheat and barley soaring. The deal foresees the establishment of a control center in Istanbul to be staffed by UN, Turkish, Russian, and Ukrainian officials, which would run and coordinate the grain exports. Ships would be inspected to ensure that they are carrying grains and fertilizer and not weapons. It also makes provision for the safe passage of the ships. In sports, Bahamas' senior women's national tennis team ready to battle in the 2022 Billie Jean King Cup competition that gets underway today in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. They got their final practice session during a media day at the Bahamas Lawn Tennis Association's National Tennis Center yesterday. They will leave for Santo Domingo today. Playing for the Bahamas in the hard surface tournament are Simone Pratt, Sydney Clark, Alana Mackey, and Sierra Rogers. Pratt is also the team captain. You can read more about how they intend to do in today's Guardian Sports section. And the Bahamas Cricket Association certainly trying to do its part to ensure the younger generation of Bahamians learn how to play the game. The BCA is currently hosting a summer camp and assisting the association with the outfitting of the campers is Canville Shipping. The camp got underway July 4th and wraps up on July 29th. You can read about that in today's Guardian Sports section. From the World Athletics Championships, Noah Lyles of the USA crouching down, putting his hands on his knees and glaring at the clock, not seeing what he'd hoped for, but he waved his hand dismissively and walked back onto the track to celebrate what was still a long-awaited win at the 200 meters at the World Championships. The clock for a moment read 19.32, but would adjust down to 19.31. That would mean that he broke Michael Johnson's hallowed 26-year-old American record, a mark that for decades seemed unapproachable. Then for a few seconds later, the scoreboard again adjusting itself, and Lyles expressing that joy. The U.S. in that race, sweeping the 200, just as it did with the 100 4 nights earlier. Coming in second, Kenny Bednarek and Arion Knighton. Moments earlier, the women's 200 meters saw Sharika Jackson giving the Jamaican women another gold in the sprints. She ran 21.45, the second fastest time in history, beating her teammate, the 100-meter champion, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, by 0.16. Only defending champion Dina Asher-Smith of Britain, who won bronze, prevented a back-to-back Jamaican sweep. Jackson's time is shy only of the 21.34 run by Florence Griffith Joyner at the 1988 Seoul Olympics. Jackson's after victory was fueled by a mistake at last year's Olympics, where she slowed down in the curve and finished fourth in a preliminary heat. That's sports. And that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your first look at weather for today, we've got high pressure that continues to dominate weather across the country, generating fresh to moderate winds. There's a slight risk of waterspout activity, and beachgoers in the central and southeast Bahamas should exercise caution, as there's a risk of rip currents along eastern shorelines. And everybody's again being advised to limit outdoor activities and remain hydrated, as we're expecting another day with high heat indices. For all areas today, your forecast calls for partly sunny, hot, and breezy conditions, with streaming showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms, becoming fair, warm, and breezy with the chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms tonight. For boaters, a small craft caution remains in effect in the central and southeast Bahamas. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots in the northwestern islands, easterly at 15 to 20 knots in the central and southeastern Bahamas. Seas 2 to 4 feet in the northwest islands, but 4 to 7 feet in the central and southeastern islands. 80 degrees right now in Nassau under fair skies. We're looking at highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 80 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day.
You are listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
You know that it's still the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Hello? Keisha, you something else, boy.
Who this is? Tamika?
You ain't even remember my name? Wow, Dread.
Girl, I've been so busy. You still planning your trip?
Girl, and I can't wait. I right here online booking my car.
You dare planning trip. You vaccinated?
Girl, we had to. We ain't been nowhere since this pandemic started. Girl, and we got a 14-day vacation.
Best vacation ever.
Girl, are you though?
Well, I know you was gonna get the vaccine because you too like travel. When y'all get your vaccine?
Girl, long time. Because you gotta get your first dose, wait, then get your second dose at least 2 weeks before you travel. Johnny get his vaccine and he 12. Even Grammy get hers. Child, and Grammy say she ain't get no money. But I see her hiding that under the mattress.
Child, let me send my list because I know you going shopping.
Keisha, don't play with me.
Vaccinate today, live tomorrow. A message by PAHO WHO, Canada, and US Aid.
Chef, that's you?
Hey, Kay, how you doing?
Man, I good. I hear you expanding. That's true?
Yeah, so now you can eat at and own a slice of the gyro.
I like that. What do I need to get started?
Go to awakx.com, pick tropical gyros, and click invest. It's that easy.
Is it expensive?
No, man, you can invest with just $9 a share with a minimum of 4 shares.
That's it? Man, I going online now. Go to awakx.com today to invest in tropical gyro. For more info, call 603-5270 or email invest@awakx.com.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and carved body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Are you an attorney with a joint practice operating from one location? Accepting payments from clients doesn't have to be complicated.
Introducing RBC MultiPay. Now each attorney can securely accept and settle payments with one point-of-sale device supporting multiple bank accounts.
With competitive pricing, training, and easy setup, you will be up and running in no time.
Call 356-8500 to sign up for
RBC
MultiPay.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, It's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's still. It's the start of the end of the old way. Revolution. Wake up. It's a new day. Wake up. It's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Stephen Hanna. Stephen Hanna, good morning. Happy Friday.
Morning. What's up?
Hope all is well with you.
You know, existence.
Oh, boy.
Existence is pain.
What?
You know?
Okay.
What is it? The Four Noble Truths?
Are you going to depress us? Or we're all looking forward to the weekend.
The depression is only in the not knowing.
Oh, dear.
The sooner you realize that,
Yikes.
No one escapes life without trauma.
Whoa,
and the sooner you learn how to manage it.
What's happening right now? Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. You're the regular bundle of sunshine over there. Thank
Trying
you.
to bring everybody to reality.
Yes.
I wish I was on yesterday. I
What
wish I
happened?
was on yesterday.
Because
So
you
I
like
could,
Thursdays? What?
So I could
What were we talking about
so I
yesterday?
could talk to to those people who called in.
Oh, you mean about the oil spill?
Yes.
And,
all those
and
bucket people.
The people who were defending the one bucket ban.
Who apparently it's a sin to say what you saw.
Yes.
Because it makes them feel bad.
And because what you
and they
see
feel personally attacked.
is a permanent thing that
No, but
is
it doesn't
only, I mean, because
none of it even matters. Because here's the thing. Nobody said the PLP was on the water. They said a man was on the water, skimming the water with a bucket. That's all that was said. Every calling in, upset.
Two people. But okay.
No, it was, and I felt like some people text. And so it was a couple of texts as well. And the people who called in.
But the majority of people were also concerned.
They were very, very heated and very impassioned, and then turned it around and said, y'all making it political.
Right.
By reporting it.
And that every morning all we do is say these things and never say anything to uplift the society.
The only thing. See, that's it. See, that on the way here, all I could think was, so we have a large issue where it's like people are like, oh, the news is depressing. Well, here's the thing. You guys don't. The news is to let you know what is new and is happening. Most of you don't actually care about kittens and sunshine. So even when it is reported, you don't pay attention because nobody could call in and say who was the primary school student of the year. Not a single person could call in.
Well, probably the
except the winners
and the parents,
right?
And the association.
Yeah, but outside of them, which one of the regular callers could call in and say who the student of the year is? If they could do that,
who we featured on the show,
of course, because you know why they turned it off when it came on. Yeah. None of them could come and say, oh, the last time you got on somebody about insurance, they said these are the top 5 things you should do, and nobody could call in and say, oh, that person was saying this is where you could go to donate to this or volunteer this. Y'all don't care about that.
Because it is silence.
Because you want to hear
about
violence. Yeah. You want to hear about destruction, but you don't want to hear about when you are doing it or when somebody that you like is doing it.
And then we'll make blanket statements about how this show or the media doesn't talk about these positive things happening.
And the truth is, you're deaf ears, you're clogged ears, your uncircumcised hearts are the reason why that we are where we are. Because you only can hear when somebody else do something wrong, and you can't hear when you do something wrong, so that you can correct what you've done. I wish I was here yesterday, because I wouldn't have said it that nicely.
Yikes. Well, perhaps it's for the best, but okay. But thank you for that, Stephen, and I hope people heard what you're saying, right? Because, anyway, let's leave that there. It's time to talk about the latest with the oil spill and more of what's making news on this Friday in the news. I don't think you even said what's coming up on the show later. Okay, but yeah, later we're going to be talking about Family Week. I'm sure plenty of people will tune out then too because, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then they'll be the same ones who call in.
We'll never talk about the family. We'll never talk about the family. Oh my God.
And the reason we're crying is because the breakdown of the family.
We'll never talk about that. But all you want to do is talk about politics. Oh, okay.
That's
yeah.
all you hear. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, God. And then later, we're going to be talking about the controversy. It's growing controversy about tips and minimum wage and whether people who earn gratuities should be.
You know how I feel about that.
Oh, my. Okay.
I feel that any business that forces persons to rely on tips is not a real business. It is hidden slavery.
Oh, we got plenty.
I know all these restaurants, all these restaurants.
Okay.
If you got to go,
you're in a very special mood
if
today.
you paid a toll to go over the bridge, you were probably participating in human slavery.
They don't give them a little pass or something. They have to pay for that, I guess. Okay, the big headline though. This is quite something. This was a shocker to a lot of people yesterday, and it's a big story in the papers today. Woman accepts plea deal in WSC case. Company director pleads guilty to bribing Adrian Gibson. Our Artesia Davis writing about this today. A director of Elite Maintenance Incorporated yesterday pleaded guilty to bribing Adrian Gibson, the former executive chairman of the Water and Sewage Corporation, in order to receive contracts for landscaping and maintenance. Tanya Demerit, a parking attendant at the Bahamas Financial Center, took a plea deal which requires her to testify against Gibson and others in the Supreme Court. Last month, Gibson, his cousin, Rashay Gibson Demerit, Elwood Donaldson, Gibson's campaign manager, Joan Knowles, Jerome Missick, and Peaches Farquharson were charged in an alleged scheme to defraud the corporation. At the time, prosecutors did not accept pleas from the defendants because the matter was being fast-tracked to the Supreme Court for trial. However, the proceedings took a surprising turn when Demerit appeared before Senior Magistrate Carolyn Vogt Evans and to accept a plea deal. So, Demerit pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bribery, conspiracy to commit fraud by false pretenses, and money laundering. She also faced a total of 16 counts and told the court that she had not been coerced to accept the plea deal. In providing the court with a summary of the evidence which would have been presented at trial, Acting Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions Cordell Frazier said that Demerit agreed to serve as Director of Elite Maintenance despite not having a beneficial interest in the company. Frazier said that between June 3rd, 2019 and March 23, 2021, Demerit and her co-conspirators defrauded the corporation out of $162,808, which was paid to Elite Maintenance for landscaping contracts. What's more, Demerit and others fraudulently obtained $538,650.08 between July 2nd, 2020 and March 2nd, 2021 for Capital Works Project M20565, which was awarded to the company to maintain lower-level tanks 1 and 2, according to information presented to the court. Frazier told the court that Demerit held herself out to be the company's director and general contractor. Prosecutors said that Demerit laundered some of the money on January 13th, 2021. She acquired 3 Kia Ceratos from Hertz Car Rental. She subsequently transferred the vehicles to Aaron's Car Rental in Bunches, Long Island. Demerit agreed with the summary and was convicted. She was sentenced to 3 years of probation on the condition that she remains in good behavior during this period. A breach of probation will result in a 2-year prison sentence. She has until July 29th to pay $10,000 in compensation to the corporation. And that is where this stands here. So,
do they do that for everybody? I mean, the compensation
like across the board. Well, making.
I mean, like,
pay
so,
back
like,
the
if somebody,
people.
right? If somebody like steals my car or my television, or
you mean you?
If somebody
a regular
steals,
person,
right? Of course. Why should I mean? Corporations aren't real people. They can actually absorb the cost.
I've never heard of it.
It'd be great if they would. It'd be great if at the end of it,
because they're going to have to steal to get the money for you, though.
No, but my thing is, well, no, they don't, because if you're putting somebody in jail, right, and you're forcing them to do labor anyway for good behavior so they could get out quickly, I'm assuming that that's for money. Like all these license plates ain't getting made for free.
Okay.
I'm just saying that shouldn't you compensate the person? Here's the thing. If you're going to send somebody to jail for doing something to me, then you shouldn't just be punishing them and not, helping to bring me back to where I'm at. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
No, they don't do it. I've never heard of it.
They should, but that's neither here nor there. I feel like it may be too soon to release the balloons and be like, I guess where this is done, or
no. In fact, it's too soon to say anything. But that's an interesting development,
right?
And we're going to see where this goes, and it's looking very interesting for certain people. But that is something
certain people.
Yeah, we'll be paying close attention.
now I'm very confused. Like, what do you mean, people?
Well, looking. We'll continue. We'll update you. We'll keep you posted on this fascinating
the
story.
The least
there.
amount of editorialization.
No, but that's what's going on, folks. Okay, so back to Exuma, and yesterday, we were told that it was a simple process. Diesel's fun. We can just skip.
When you said when I heard that either it was a news report or you said that the person was like, "Oh, diesel is," or maybe it's a caller. Diesel is lighter than water.
I think that was in the report, actually. But
but that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
It is.
Oil floats. That's how it works. It's not a lightness. It's a density. It's a buoyancy situation.
That's what the works minister said. But he also said it would take 24 hours to clean up.
The majority of it.
Most of it.
They never said all of it.
Right.
So that
and will it ever be all?
So the lunatics don't call it and say, "That's not what he say. That's what he say."
Will they ever be able to get all? And they still will hold up the diesel challenge. We're going to ask all the officials and everybody responsible to go swimming in this bay.
And they will.
When?
They go inside buildings with black mold in it. You think they wouldn't swim inside some diesel water? That's a small thing.
We want to see it.
It's probably safer to swim inside a vat of diesel and go inside some of these government buildings.
Yikes.
It would actually, the only way they're ever going to get rid of all the diesel, and this is not a slight against anybody except for the people who spilt it, is to light it on fire. It's not going to go away. Like, it's going to always be some parts per million inside that water. In the water.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be specific.
An inside joke for last week's listeners. Yeah. Or is it an in joke for last week's? No. Everything's messed up. Okay, so let's get back to to the story here, and what the latest update we got from the Exuma and Ragged Island MP, who happens to be the Deputy Prime Minister, Chester Cooper, on where things stand with the cleanup efforts as of yesterday. Take a listen to this report from our partners at Our News and Marlena Leonard.
With cleanup efforts in Exuma continuing into the wee hours this morning, officials say the process is over 75% complete. Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper giving an update this morning.
Today, there is dramatic improvement over what you saw yesterday. Early this morning, I got new videos, and we are advised that 20,000 gallons have been removed into trucks and tanks and now being transported to a ship, and that ship is going to take that product back to Clifton Pier where it's going to be processed.
This latest footage from shortly after 4 p.m. this afternoon showing just how much of the spill has been cleaned up. As you can see in this footage obtained by Our News, the diesel is contained to the small area on the opposite side of the cove, surrounded by containment buoys. It's a far cry from the shocking scene Catherine Booker of the Bahamas National Trust says she saw yesterday.
To see it happen right here in Elizabeth Harbor, that's so important for this community. We have tourism happening on either side of this cove, and also, like I said, a national park adjacent. It was just really, really shocking. But at the same time, I was really glad to see that they had moved very swiftly to contain the spill.
Meanwhile, the Deputy Prime Minister is insisting the government is taking the situation seriously.
There is an oil spill committee. They're looking into these matters. It's a live investigation. Should there be penalties? Well, if there was recklessness, my view is there should be penalties. So we'll see. We'll await the outcome of the investigation.
But the question remains, what, if any, legal action could potentially take place? Transport Minister JoBeth Colby Davis explaining the process.
that matter would be dealt with in partnership with the Ministry of Environment and also the Office of the Attorney General. And once that's confirmed, the report, who the immediate party that's responsible for this bill, then other penalties will come, and that will be decided by Ministry of Environment, Department of Environmental Planning and Protection.
Reporting for our news, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Okay. Let's get your reaction to this, folks. You heard in the report, the environmentalists saying that it's definitely much improved from how it was the day before. But what really will be the long-term results of all of this? That's the question. And what will happen, as you heard about the investigation? Will there be any penalties for anybody involved in this tragedy? Let's get your reaction to it. Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796.
Need to bury whatever company is responsible.
Oh, okay. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hey, good morning to your guest too. I agree with him this morning on lighting the fire. That's the quickest way to get that out the water. Light it, let it burn off. But then you're out the environmentalists talking with the smoke. But I have an accident on my chest. Dwight.
Yeah.
When you go, right now you can sit on a plane and stuff without, at least on a plane, yeah, without being vaccinated, right?
You mean if it's parked on the tarmac? I mean, where are you going?
In the plane, flying like from Edgewood to Bimini or something like that, or Nassau or Freeport. You can sit on a plane without being vaccinated, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, you could go in the shop without being vaccinated, right?
Sure.
Okay, the other day I know someone went into a restaurant, fast food restaurant, and no one sitting at the table. They decided to sit there with them and their young children. Mm-hmm. And the manager came over rudely and told them they had to leave because they ain't vaccinated.
Did the manager ask for their vaccination cards?
And she came up with a rude self said, "Oh, where's your card?" Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a card, you can't sit in here.
I mean, it's their private property, so they can do whatever they want to do.
So, is there a rule saying you have to be vaccinated to sit inside
the restaurant could decide which customers they want to serve.
No, I know, but they serving you, but you can't sit in there to eat.
Yeah, no, I've seen signs inside most of these restaurants where it says that you have to for indoor dining. For indoor dining, you have to be fully vaccinated.
The sign should be displayed, right?
Yes, the sign should be displayed. That yes, the sign wasn't displayed.
No.
Oh, okay. So that's a different matter then. Yeah.
I mean, it looks like it's becoming now, and black people can't eat inside there. You have to leave. Just for whites only. That's what it's. That's coming in Brooklyn.
That's a bit of a stretch, but okay. But
it's discrimination. No matter the bottom line, it's discrimination.
Yes. Well, that's interesting. You don't want to say which restaurant?
McDonald's.
Oh,
okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's very interesting. Thank you for telling us about that. Yeah, I suspect. I'm surprised that people still have that attitude now. Maybe. Yeah.
I'm not.
You really?
No, because the reason they're doing it is so that they don't have to clean up. It's the same reason why all of them had their bathrooms closed for the entire pandemic. It wasn't because, this is for health and safety purposes. It was so that they don't have to clean up. It's less work.
It's probably both.
No, it's not. It is not.
I mean,
it's not. They're still closed now.
Really paranoid 2 years ago.
No, this was way after that.
Anybody to go in there and cough up the place.
Yeah, they didn't want anybody to go inside the bathrooms to wash their hands or to touch anything because they're like, then we'll have to go behind them and clean up.
But also nobody was allowed in.
No, this is when people were allowed in. Anyway, it's a bunch of them, trust me.
Oh, dear. Let's take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Good morning.
Godly day, this is Strachan
Hi.
with you and Steve and Dwight.
Yes, good morning.
We need justice, law, and order in this country. The thing is, right, because of all of that, fuel were, disposed to the waters, right? As the tide come up and goes down, they got the tire going to wash out in the sands and the rocks and stuff like that as it go down, and it stays there. Okay? Not only that, when it had turned up by the water, some flowing, ebbing or whatever, and coming up, that's going to damage the marine, the seabed, right? The thing is, I don't want the minister who is responsible or the government, what you would call compromised, okay? They did something wrong and they should pay, because eventually that ain't going to be all good for those people in Exuma. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you very much. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys. How are you all this morning?
Doing well.
I would like for you, Dwight, and your crew to do some investigation into these fast food restaurants like Burger King, Wendy's, and McDonald's. There's none of them that a customer can go in and sit down at this time. But we can go at Fish Fry, we can go at all the other restaurants and sit down. Why is that the case? And they seems like they're right now remodeling their restaurants to not accommodate people to sit inside that much anymore.
Yeah, that's very
I'll
interesting.
ask the question why that is still possible.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Yeah, we'll look into that. That is odd, and
They don't want to clean up. It's less cost for them. That's the only logical reason. Do you remember what the bathrooms were like before the pandemic?
It's horrific.
And do you remember that they used to have the rosters and they used to force the employees to, okay, every 20 minutes one of y'all got to go inside there and hose the place down? They are so happy that they have an excuse to keep any human being out of those bathrooms.
We're seeing an increase in the ones that are you stand outside the window or you only drive through.
Yeah,
We're seeing a lot more of those.
First of all, to keep a dining room is an added expense.
Yeah,
a takeaway is cheaper to run than a dining room because now you have to wipe down the
and
tables.
families love standing outside a window to order food.
No, but we also like to sit down to eat. And so the thing is, like, we don't mind standing outside if we could eat outside. I always had a problem with all these walk-up new franchises that they started building. But, like, watch very soon. Y'all start complaining about it, they could just remove all the chairs and stuff and they say, oh, we're now only a takeaway.
It's been happening.
No. They're not going to build new ones that only takeaways. The ones that have dining spaces
You will be converted.
in the inner cities will be converted to just walk
I don't
off.
think just the inner city. I mean, the whole.
No, the ones downtown because they have to cater to the tourists.
Oh.
All right, just like the caller said. All right, they have to cater to a certain faction. So they're going to have chairs for certain people. But you rest assured, they're probably listening right now, writing this down and saying, that's a good idea.
But that's a good question. We'd love to get an answer. They don't have an association.
They don't need to sit down.
Do they have an association? Or
They don't have. It's called the bank. It's because they own everything and they have all the money.
No.
Yeah, their association is the Illuminati. That's what it is.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Stephen.
Good morning.
Is it safe to talk about the bucket, Dwight?
Sure.
There's a hole in the bucket.
Oh,
Realize it. There's a hole in the bucket. But listen, what I really call for, Dwight, is that the outcome of this thing that most of us should be concerned about. Yesterday, you had a certain person associated with the oil companies that popped their head up. And with this administration in power, it is my guess, right, that ain't nothing to come of that. In terms of fines and that kind of thing. It's for the mere fact that that person popped their head up yesterday. You understand? Now, when it comes to Burger King, McDonald's, and those fast food restaurants out there, they are given a license by the state to service the public. And anything outside of that is discrimination and all of that kind of stuff. The problem with Bahamians is we are too passive. I have learned over the last several years, I have had 3 cases with small companies, and I have won my case because it is there is justice in this country. That person who go on to McDonald's needs to carry their lawyer in because there is justice. Don't mind them making up these rules as they go along. It's not constitutional. It's unconstitutional what they're doing. And they have a license to service the public.
Well, I mean, it's a little tricky. There are still restaurants that are asking for proof of vaccination. There are a few, right? And if that is allowed, then they will say they have the right to do that too.
Listen, Dwight, in this country, that's why I said the human system is passive. There's a myriad of things that we allow because we've been doing it a long time doesn't make it right.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not correct.
So you're saying just asking it outright, asking if you're vaccinated and only allowing vaccinated people.
It is not mandatory. It is not mandatory. It is not law that we go around, walk around with health certificates. Besides, whether you vaccinated or not is your personal business, you know.
Well, yeah, and the fact that restaurants don't have to do, the hotels don't have to do it. That is a discrimination.
It is discrimination.
Yeah.
It is discrimination, but then again, most of these places discriminate anyway, right? And they've always discriminated. I remember in the 90s when they'd have the whole litany of things that you couldn't have to enter certain places, from dreadlocks to hats to shades to you got to have your shirt and your pants. Anything to get a certain crowd to not be inside. So it's like, of course it's discrimination. And as a private entity or whatever, they're allowed to say, well, only people wearing a coat suit could be inside here. Mm-hmm. You have to wear a tie to be seated in our dining room. They could say this type of stuff. Mm-hmm. It is up to us whether or not we really want a hamburger from this place that badly, that we accept it.
Yeah.
And then because these are the same people who would cry, pour them out, if all of our stuff go in there, that Bahamians don't support their business. All right? And so it's like, it's important. And then it's also important to figure out, well, first of all, who is the person who owned this? What's the conglomeration or the syndicate, the cartel that owns this? And let's not support any of them. Let's not support any of their businesses.
You could do that, but also it's time to challenge the government to act on this, right? If you feel that this is unfair,
or everything.
Hotels, nobody's asking a single thing. You could be practically naked walking through. Yeah, but here, you have provide a blood test and a COVID test and this and that and that.
You attack
what
all
is the point
directions.
of all of this?
But once again, the persons who are doing that because they want to do that. Yeah. They're not doing that because the government is making them do that.
No,
right?
But they're allowed to do this.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So yes, if you want to petition the government as well. Mm-hmm. But it is them, because they will always find a way to take your money and then ask you why you're still standing there.
Yeah. All right, some text messages because we've got to take a break in a bit. This person says here, this is back to the plea deal. This person says, interesting development. Well, the F&M needs to ask for his resignation. You know who they're talking about. His resignation today. Sure, his trial's still pending, but let him clear that up as a regular citizen. Okay.
They say that the people of certain places put him there. Mm-hmm. Sorry, you guys can't see. I rolled my eyes very hard.
I think they could feel it.
I hope they can feel it.
This person says, my question still remains, why didn't the ship and BPL have the necessary pollution equipment in place before the operation started, or at a minimum on standby just in case?
I messaged you that. Yes, it was like that.
Did you send this today too?
No.
Oh.
What?
And exactly where did they get the figures for the amount of diesel spilled, and can we trust the numbers?
I'm not.
I mean, accidents will happen, even if you have the contingencies in place.
No one's saying the accidents don't happen, mm-hmm. But when the person, and I'm still upset at the people calling, when they're like, "Oh, your reporter, that was the first person on scene." So you're telling me that people flew
I think
from
the guy
Providence.
who called was the guy on the boat, because he was very passionate.
It wasn't the guy on the boat.
No?
That guy probably never been to Exuma in his life, right? And I ain't scared to say that, because I'm sure he never been there, right? He probably couldn't find Exuma on a map, right? Those individuals had the gall and the nerve and the insanity to call here and say, oh, a reporter flew from New Providence to Exuma after hearing about something and arrived before the emergency people. And you proud to say that as an excuse? You silly, silly goose. You silly, silly goose.
Let's not attack. People
I'm not attacking them.
People are frustrated.
This is not attacking. It's not attacking when you're describing what you're seeing. And I'm seeing a silly goose being silly. You didn't think it all the way through before they started talking. Because it's like, that actually makes it worse. You're telling me that the news crew was able to muster up their forces and get there with camera and paper and pens and pictures. And everybody reached there. And the only person who reached there in Exuma was the guy with a boat and a bucket.
All right, here's a text. Now, this is why we have a problem in the country. The text says, yes, there is still a rule in place that indoor diners must be vaccinated. That hasn't changed since they let folks back inside. No, that is not the case because hotels don't ask you anything.
Well, that's one part of it. But then also the second part of it is you're allowed inside to order, but you're not allowed to use the bathroom because that has nothing to do with sitting down and eating. It's actually
fast food places. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm talking about fast food places. Yeah. So it's like it's still an issue where the fast food restaurants are using this pandemic to their advantage financially because it is a financial thing. If they could clean up for free, they wouldn't care. But financially, it helps them to not have to go behind people and clean up. So there's a lot of them.
Yeah. But the problem,
who refuse to let you use anything except you could come inside and give us money and nothing else.
People are making excuses for this, and this discrimination is a problem, folks. You don't care about it?
No,
it's fine because the money is so good. You're fine with the discrimination. The same person texting in the hotels receive an exemption. The pandemic is still in place, and so are certain orders. Yeah, well, how come the hotels receive an exemption if the pandemic is still in place?
Which money is so good?
The
hotel workers will tell you that the money isn't great.
You know better than that. But
and it can't be
it ain't about them. It ain't about them.
Okay,
right. But exactly. But so you're fine with the discrimination?
Of course they are, Dwight. What are you talking about? That was never in
question. So you go to that fast food place. You better show you. But this place here, sit down here for 4 hours and. Yeah, no. That card, that's not the card we care about. We only want to see that gold card, that platinum card.
Right. Here's the thing. The person who's taxing you does not go to a place where they are discriminated against. Because
you can't say that.
No, I can say that. Because they either they don't want to sit at the fast food restaurant or they don't go to a fast food restaurant. There's a very good chance that they rather eat at home with their marble tiles and their granite countertops.
Why are you saying it like that? Those
are what normal things? They're not normal.
Those are common
No.
today.
The rest of us are here with our Formica and cardboard houses.
You need to stop.
Right? We would like, we're already here at this place. This only 3 of you in this franchise inside this country. Multi-million national.
Did you eat hot pepper again this morning, Stephen? What's going on with you?
I didn't eat anything this morning.
All right, maybe that's it.
It's some beet supplements. All right?
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Whole point is that certain people will use anything to take advantage if they are allowed to. And so, yes, on one hand, I agree with you, petition the government. But on the other hand, you still have to hold these individuals accountable. Because guess what? They was the ones who got the government to allow them to let people inside so that they could serve them. They was the ones that allowed that petitioned the government and forced the government to open up all these things back up.
Yeah. People texting us. They just dined at certain restaurants. They call the names. No card. Yeah, I've been to quite a few in the last month or so. No card. Nobody's asking for anything anymore, whether they're with a hotel or not.
I know that, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, so
we've got
I'm saying
double standards.
The petitioning of the government isn't the one who's holding them to this. They're using it as an excuse. So it's like you can't. I do not think that this is a situation where you have to say the government is at fault here. The government isn't the one who is at fault. The government put some things in place. They removed most of it. And for all intent and purposes, it is no longer a thing, right? It might be on the books, but that's like a million things on the books, like declaring how much money you make per year as an MP. That's on the books. We know we ain't gonna never know how much them individuals make. Almost use a different word just now. The whole point is these people are using it to their advantage because they know that they can. It is up to us as a public to stop supporting them. They will sell those chairs before they let you sit in them.
Yeah. Yeah. So the laws are there, but it's not being enforced, and so
the laws don't count. It is not
serious.
You could write anything on a piece of paper. If it's not being enforced, it's not really a law. And any medium lawyer will tell you that. I'm sure that the good ones won't tell you that, but a real lawyer will tell you, listen, if you ain't enforced this law in 10 years, it ain't really there. The same way where once you have not executed a person in 10 years, you're an abolitionist state, you do not believe in the death penalty as a country, You could be on your books all you want. We ain't gonna hang nobody.
Wow. Let's take a couple more calls before we go to the break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Okay, let's take that other one there. Good morning. Are you there? Are you still there? I hear something. No. Okay. Hi. Good morning. You're on the air. So they just blocked up our lines. Okay. Let's see. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Morning to
Stephen.
Morning. Hi.
Morning.
Dwight, see, based on your license, the license calls for you to have adequate restaurant supply. So basically, if they open and the restaurant is closed, obviously it's something to do with the licensing authority. You know, because that's a part of having a license to have adequate restaurant supply. Restaurant supply. Okay, so the restaurant look, they shouldn't be operating, and that's what authorities need to actually to step in. All right.
They have the supplies. They're just using loopholes to not use it.
Yeah, but then it's supposed to be open. What's the point of an ample restaurant supply if it's locked? I mean, the license should be functioning. So it's up to the authorities not to crack on that and say, that's against the law. Back to the law again, like you say, if it's not being applied, then obviously,
Okay.
it doesn't make sense. All right?
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes, hello.
What are we? All right. Let's take this one. What was that just now? Good. What was that from this planet? Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, morning, Dwight. Morning, Stephen.
Hi.
Good morning. How you doing?
Just a very brave observation here. And, Stephen, you're absolutely correct. Because apparently, the laws are in place, but the authorities or those involved are apparently not out there mandating that things should return to pre-COVID existence or whatever. I'll give you a classic example. Right now, the big cry is, even with one of the banks that we have here in the country, that their typical closing hours was pre-COVID, pre-hurricane, was 3 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Right now, it stands the same bank.
1 and 2 o'clock.
It's still 2 o'clock. And we're trying to figure out why has this bank not adjusted its hours back to normal operating hours.
I never understood why it was 3 o'clock in the first place.
Well, that's just it. But and apparently, the hubbub right now is that there are a lot of persons who are so accustomed to the banking hours being a particular time, and they are closed either before the time, or they're changing hours and they're not notifying people about the hours and the services. So
no more Saturday banking, all type of stuff. And then they only got 3 people working on the inside, so now it take longer to get served anyway.
Well, let's don't even go there, Stephen.
And then
the line
out the door.
Is out the door, and then when the bank closes at 2 o'clock, those persons who are actually on the line, at one time I saw those persons actually were turned away because they were not inside the bank. Yeah. So there's so many things still disconnected here, and our people are not addressing these matters.
Well, that's because the banks are the temple of Satan.
Thanks for taking my.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
You know how I feel about banks.
Oh boy. These text messages. Someone says, "Dwight, I messaged you the same exact thing yesterday. How did the man in the boat and the reporter get there before the emergency team?" Well, that's according to that caller. I don't know if that's how that went. Another caller said that.
No, more than one person called to say that.
Yeah, somebody said, "Well, they at the time
that was the first one. That was the first person.
Somebody had already left to go somewhere."
Yeah, we're not even saying that that's what the answer is. It would actually be better if they said, "Oh, he was the last person." The guys went on lunch. They came during lunch break, and he was still there, and the other 50 guys was coming by. Listen, the whole point is their argument was ridiculous because they wanted to blame somebody, but not accept any responsibility themselves.
Right.
No one was asking them to take responsibility. At no point in this anybody said, "Boy, look how the PLP has spilled diesel."
Yeah.
No one said that.
Never.
So it's like, why would you wake up on the good day that God give you and waste minutes to call here to breathe your hot stink breath on this radio station and make all of us upset with you because you so in love with your party that anytime somebody say how dare they say you're political. Y'all always talking about us. So use the now. Okay, cool.
Oh boy. Back to the restaurants. This person says here, those restaurants that are stopping you from coming indoors, it's a simple fix. Just choose a different restaurant that will accommodate you. Spend your money where you are comfortable.
I agree.
If
we could do it with food stores, I would stop supporting some of these food stores too. I'm just saying, some of these food. Did you guys know that there are bathrooms available for the public inside food stores?
Where?
You got it.
Which country?
Inside the Bahamas.
Would you want to use them?
Sometimes you have to. Yeah. And the thing is, Dwight, you only find it out when you start dating people who light skin.
Now, I don't know why you had to go there. I do not know why.
That's who taught me.
There.
I didn't know.
But okay. All right. We're going to get to more of your messages and more of your calls. And we want to talk about the Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Tourism, who did a tour of downtown.
They don't want you using their bathrooms, Dwight. That's the short version of it. They don't want you using their bathrooms.
It's fine.
No, it's not fine. Because it's open. The bathrooms are available to the public. But they don't want...
Like, where is it? In the freezer? Or where would it be?
Usually, you know, the double doors towards the produce section?
That doesn't look like a place I want to go through.
That's why it's hidden away. And maybe they should put it inside a more public place.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Plus the band is rocking, and they don't feel like stopping. Old school just calling, new school just whining. I'll teach you a thing or two, just do what I do. People out there happy, no one faces screw. They came here to party, just like me and you. Wind your bumper up on baby, nice and slow, baby. You came here to wine on me. Now I want to touch the road with you.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. In your real-time traffic, mile above the highway, we're seeing some heavy traffic there, just north of Fire Trail. You see that in the northbound lanes there. Seems to be a little break in the traffic there, so it might be an incident on that highway northbound as well. Keep that in mind. Glassing Road looks better for you, though. Northbound, just as you get closer to Munnings Road, you'll see the traffic in front of you. And Blue Hill Road also busy, just north of Sold Road, especially on the way to Independence Drive and near the Carmichael Road junction. Elsewhere on Carmichael westbound, building traffic heading west to Coral Harbor Road. And Eastern Road, as that has been a challenge there with the closure of Village, basically from East Bay Street to Harmony Hill Road. You definitely want to avoid that area if you can, and that is causing traffic delays on Shirley and on to Eastern Road at this time. So keep that in mind. That's an area to avoid if you can. That's your real-time traffic in your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
You're always on the go. We know life can be a daily rush. CIBC, First Caribbean, you can count on us. We make life easier. Manage your accounts at any time. Apply for a loan. It's easy when you bank online. We make life easier with choices that suit you. CIBC, First Caribbean.
That's
Esso, we're thankful for you. So we're giving away thousands of dollars in free fuel. Just fuel up with any amount at any Esso service station, and you could be randomly selected to win a $50 fuel voucher. There will be over 100 lucky winners every week. It's that simple. Fuel up with any amount at any Esso service station for your chance to win. Special conditions apply. Visit facebook.com/Salt Petroleum Bahamas for more details. Promotion ends July 22nd, 2022. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Shot! Hey! Let's go!
All right, we're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. Okay, we're all over the place this morning. We were talking about the oil spill, but then it got to discrimination at restaurants and supermarkets.
And the banks, don't forget them banks.
But this is a big deal. We need to do a show on this. I know Alicia Hart, when she was on, used to complain about this all the time, about banks and other places not having or not allowing you to use facilities. We can come up with lots of reasons why banks might not want to do this for safety reasons.
No.
But
you should not want to have a bunch of people outside of your bank for safety reasons. Not serving people quickly for the safety reasons. That doesn't make any sense.
No. I mean, like, you have somebody go in the bank and then they all of a sudden come out with stuff, masks and guns and...
What?
You don't know. They're not searching people. They're not searching people. So people come in there.
First of all,
let
me tell you how ridiculous the banks are. You go inside the bank with your mask on, and they say, take your mask off so the camera can see your face.
Right.
So at this rate, I've already exposed myself or exposed you to COVID.
Yeah.
All right?
Well, let's say before that, though.
No.
Think back before the COVID pandemic. So you come in there, people have bags and briefcases, and you say, I need to use the restroom. You go in there, and then you come out.
Oh, you know why a bank wouldn't let you use the restroom?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Right, so
this is the way it works, right? It's very simple. You hire sufficient staff to do the job that needs to be done for your business to run. All right? Here's the thing. I want you to know there are many businesses inside this country that make that probably turn over $1 million a day. All right? There are many businesses because they're always full and we always have to go to them. Some of these businesses are like, we are going to hire the cheapest security possible rather than hire the proper type of security. And what we'll do is we'll stem the flow of traffic of people coming in and out rather than get the proper security. Some of these places will tell you see the signs everywhere. We're not responsible for your vehicle once you park inside. Why? Because we do not have security guards to watch your vehicles. We barely have security guards to stop people from thieving eggs. Why? Because we're too cheap. We want to keep all the money inside our pockets. Banks are no different because the whole thing is if your business is money, then you need to do whatever it takes. They tell people who making $1.50 a day to get an armored truck. And the bank can't figure out how to get proper guards for the bank. It's not like the guards they have now doing the scariest job in the world already. They are using loopholes to not do the right thing.
Yeah. Wow.
And the same thing with the bathrooms.
Yeah.
If they hired somebody, instead of trying to force the person who's doing the fries to take 20 minutes to go clean the toilet, if they just hired some persons to clean the bathrooms, they wouldn't have a messy bathroom.
You know, some of these banks would make the tellers do it.
Make the tellers do it. They'll tell them, why are you giving this person money? Go clean the bathroom. First of all, we don't even have one teller because they ain't hiring no more tellers. You know these people, any of these Canadians?
No. Why did you go there?
What?
And
they're the worst. They're the worst.
Are they really? I don't know if that's
They
the
are.
case. From what I've heard, it's a lot of
listen,
blame
all
all
banks
around.
are bad, but the Canadian banks, they're the worst.
This person says, you can use the restrooms in the supermarkets. I have. If you got to go, you got to go. You got to go. I am going to say it. They're calling off some stores that let you use the restrooms. Just ask. Okay.
Yeah.
Well.
Now, AML, at least they don't hide their voucher. I'll tell you that.
That's true. I've seen them in
Fresh
there.
Market will let you.
Just never thought to
There are
actually
bathrooms
go in
in
there.
all of the food stores
Yeah,
have
they're right
bathrooms
there.
that are available for the public, but you have to ask.
All right, we're going to the news. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for your smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:21, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got high pressure that will dominate the weather across the country, and there's a slight risk of waterspout activity in the central and southeast Bahamas. Beachgoers need to be alert for that. And everybody's being advised to exercise caution, limit outdoor activity, and remain hydrated, especially during afternoon hours, as we're expecting another day with high heat indices. There's also a risk of rip currents along eastern shorelines in the central and southeastern Bahamas. Okay, so for today, for all areas, look for partly sunny, hot and breezy conditions with streaming showers and isolated thunderstorms, becoming fair, warm, and breezy with a chance of a few isolated showers and thunderstorms tonight. Smallcraft caution remains in effect for the central and southeast Bahamas. Temperatures today getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. Remember that heat index is still going to be a factor. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 80 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. In your extended outlook, high pressure will remain across the islands, producing typical summertime weather, while streaming tropical moisture will enhance the chance of shower activity over the weekend. So for tomorrow, Saturday, mostly sunny and hot and humid with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms, becoming fair and warm with a few isolated showers at night, breezy in the central and southeastern islands. Sunday, mostly sunny, hot and humid with a few isolated showers and thunderstorms, becoming fair and warm with a few isolated showers at night, breezy in the central and southeastern islands. The tropics are quiet, tropical cyclone formation unexpected during the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance, still the first and only local insurance agency and company network that allows you to buy car and home insurance 100% online. Try it at bahamasfirst.com. And at 8:23, time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC. For all of life's moments, there's one Visa Classic credit card. In your real-time traffic, Eastern Road and Shirley Street, that junction there presenting some headaches as Village Road is closed from East Bay Street all the way down to Harmony Hill Road, and you definitely want to avoid the area if you can. If you can't, just keep in mind there are delays there as that portion is closed, and that is causing lots of issues for folks there. And for people who try to get onto Shirley, they have to come around, and so it is a nightmare there, and that is backed up quite a ways on Eastern Road at this time. Elsewhere, we've got Milo Highway, heavy traffic from Fire Trail all the way up to Tawny Bloom's Darling Highway. In the northbound lanes there, Gladstone Road looks like a much better alternate route for you. But as you get closer to Munnings Road, you'll see that traffic in front of you, heading to JFK Drive. Then there's Blue Hill Road, heavy traffic there, especially near the junction with Carmichael, and especially north of Soldier Road, heading to Independence Drive in the northbound lanes. Elsewhere, just nothing much to talk about. Nothing that you can't handle out there. But those are your hot spots. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC. Experience cashless purchasing power and chip and pin security with your RBC Visa Classic credit card. Manage your day-to-day expenses and apply today at rbc.com/Caribbean/Visa Classic.
You know, you should teach a savings class, because you know everything. No, I just choose wisely. Like, I just got 2 months free home internet from BTC. All I did was sign up for internet. 2 months internet free? For real? I bundled my internet and mobile services, and now I'm paying half of what the other guys charge. Plus, as a new customer, I get 2 months internet free. What? Nah, that's a big deal.
Switch to BTC Internet and get the second and third months free for new customers. Conditions apply.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Shot! Hey! Let's go! Hey, hey, hey. I want to touch the road with you tonight, baby. And I want to love you up and make you feel brand new.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Stephen Hanna. Stephen, I think I can do this, right? I can make this announcement. We just got some fantastic news. This is wonderful, wonderful stuff. Chester Robards.
I thought you were going to say we're getting a raise.
What?
But yeah, no, this is great too.
Chester Robards is now a daddy.
You said it very weird.
Is it? Okay. Is a father? Yeah.
Weirder. My God.
Congratulations to Chester and Amanda. They just welcomed their beautiful baby just moments ago.
We did it. We did it.
We're very excited for them. And this is wonderful. Congratulations, Chester and Amanda, the Robards.
I highly doubt they're listening, but okay.
Yeah. But
I think they might be busy.
He sent a picture. Beautiful, beautiful baby girl. So, yeah, wonderful stuff. Congratulations again.
Did you show it to the audience?
Yeah, I'm going to show it to the audience. All right, so that's happy. Even Steven's smiling. So look at that. All right.
What?
Because he's such a
normal human being.
Sure, that's it. All right. Okay, so. We have been talking about a lot of things this morning. Yes, there are people sending in messages. Yes, everybody, congratulations. Yes, it's beautiful. It is wonderful. Yeah. All right. I want to get to a couple of these messages, and I want to move on to something else. This message here. So we were talking about the oil spill, and people were talking about what the challenges they've been having with restaurants, and it's so... Right, we know that there are rules, but people are doing their own thing, and some seem quite arbitrary. But many restaurants that you go to, even those not attached to hotels, are not asking for cards. Others are.
Anything. Well, some people like customers, and some people just.
But some people also like to follow the rules,
and some people just want the customer money.
Boy. Anyway, so this text here, someone says, we as a people need to become more litigious. We must start suing these companies, but unfortunately the cartel own the competent attorneys and put fear in the smaller firms. No one or company has the right to ask for my medical records. That is private and infringes on my right to privacy, especially with this not being mandated nationally, I guess. Federally it says, but sure. But, okay, well.
Listen, I look forward to the day where we get so litigious, because I could easily see in 30 years, every single person who has ever worked for any government ministry having one of those commercials. Did you work for the Bahamian government between the years 1990 and 2000?
Talk time. 1979.
2040.
1979.
No, because those people are already dead.
Yeah.
All right? And you may be entitled to a settlement. Black mold. That's all you're going to hear. You're gonna be, it could be thousands and thousands of black mold settlements.
It won't be only that, though.
No, I'm saying that's one of the commercials you will hear.
Right.
And it's like,
will you hear it here, or will it be on American TV? Because I don't know if it'll be playing here.
Well, that's if we still have electricity. So.
Yeah, well.
Whole point is, I look forward to the day.
It's starting. You can see it. You can see it now.
The
People, people suing. People are like, I'm not playing with you. I'm really going to take it forward.
And once again, these are things that if you have access to it, then sure. I find it disappointing in a lot of these legal firms and these lawyers, where it's like, you so hard have to become a lawyer, but you just want to be a lawyer the same reason why people be real estate agents. So you could sell $1 million piece of property. You don't actually care about people, right? Because if you did, you take up some of these smaller people cases and sue the big guys, and everybody wins, because you could take home 20 to 50% of the paycheck, and I will be able to take home a couple $100,000, and we'll all live better. But y'all only want to sell real estate. Y'all only want to go, I want to be a lawyer so I could sell an island, and so it'd be less land for black people to live on.
You took a swipe at a couple professions just now.
You know how I feel
That's beautiful.
You know, I feel
Wow,
very
that
real.
was grand slam. Okay.
Wait, there's more.
My goodness gracious. Okay. This tweet here, you have to ask to use the bathroom, and they show you where it is. And yeah, I don't think
I shouldn't
they want
have
the public.
to ask for where the bathroom is.
They don't want the public to go there.
They
but
don't
you're
want-
right. At the other chain that you mentioned,
You could say
it's right
It's
there.
only the two of them.
Yeah.
It's only AML.
It is right there
and-
by the
and
cashiers. You
Right.
can see. Yeah,
You can
I've
see
never
where it is.
thought of using
Well,
it.
the thing is-
because by then you're done. You're like, I'm leaving now anyway. Since I'm right here at the cashier, I could go drive home. But okay.
No, but it's knowing where it is, and the whole thing is like if somebody doesn't tell you about something, you have to ask yourself, well, what is the reason why? Was it that they forgot to tell me, or is it policy because they don't want me to have it?
Yeah.
They can't refuse me it, but they also, if we don't tell him about it, he ain't gonna ask for it, and then so it'll be in the back there, and then later on we'll say, well, this is available for you. Why you didn't apply for it? Because nobody told me. Now we're getting into higher education and all the pitfalls of that.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow. Let's take this call, and then it's like what, and then we'll get to another issue in the news. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning to all.
Hi.
Morning.
I was listening to the minister, talk about penalties, and it seems like he's saying that there's only possible penalties paraphrase him a bit in the event of accidents. I mean, human error. But what about equipment failure? Seems like these folks only want to partake in profits, but it's not the losses. The losses always come to the public. I don't know. And then there's the situation with the teachers. I feel like it's time we make some investment into education. What do we do? Do we go and get the chief teachers from Jamaica who can speak our language and teach us every subject? Should we go do that rather than paying our teachers? Our teachers need to be paid. Because they are really doing a service to us. Especially the teachers in the public service. But thank you much.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. So, elsewhere in the news, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper touring downtown Nassau yesterday. A walkabout. Take a listen to this report, again, from our partners with Our News and Italia Hall.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism and Aviation Chester Cooper touring the downtown area where some vendors were sharing their concerns. The tourism minister says with the country slowly coming out of the COVID-19 pandemic, he's pleased with the level of activity downtown.
We see the magnificent development of the port here at Prince George Wharf, and many of the vendors who were previously displaced and who previously had complaints about their displacement. I was pleased to see that many of them have settled in. They're making money. They're looking forward to the new port development.
Now, the Deputy Prime Minister says he is concerned about some of the vendors selling the same products, and he's asking vendors to be creative in this industry.
If we can get more deeply involved with product creation and supporting craft.
Cooper admitting that the government needs to make some additional adjustments to improve the area. And as for dilapidated buildings,
we're looking to see how we can encourage the owners of these buildings to repair them. And when we find that we're not getting the right response in terms of collaboration with individual owners, we're going to take steps that's permitted to us under the law.
The DPM says is not what he wants tourists to see when coming off of the cruise ships.
This is not an impression of who we are as Bahamians. This is not an impression of what the Bahamas is about. And unless we change it, people are going to go away thinking that the Bahamas is a crappy place.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Italia Hall.
Well,
Such language so early.
Okay, so here we are again. I feel like we talk about this. We've been talking about this for 20 years now, because the restaurants have been replaced in the last 5 years with jewelry stores and T-shirt shops. The few restaurants that there were,
Dwight,
it keeps happening. It's getting worse, and people selling the same thing. They only sell 2 things down there.
So, once again, my feelings about Bay Street are very strong and very violent. The whole entire thing, just start over. Like if we could just
bulldoze it,
bulldoze the whole thing, every from the only part of it I probably would leave up is probably the straw market. That's the only part of it that make a little bit of sense. All the rest of it is garbage. All the rest of it is garbage. All the rest of it is garbage. The people who work there wouldn't even argue.
Literally 1 or 2. That's
1 or
it.
2 what?
1 or 2 places.
They don't even got good bars.
A little bit.
They don't even got good bars, Dwight. No. And the whole thing is like, here's the thing. Tourism, and I think for a very long time, because even when I was a child, people would often, they'd tell us, oh, we got sun, sound, and sea. And you're misunderstanding what your actual product is when you deal with tourism. Your product is not geography. Your product is not geology. Your product is culture. Wherever you live, it is how you live in that area. If you live in the desert, the tourism product is how you live in the desert, not the desert. If you live in a mountain, it is how you live in the mountain, not the mountain. If you live in the ocean, surrounded by the ocean, it is how you live there.
Yeah.
There are 2 issues with that. One, the people of the Bahamas are not living in a well enough environment or way or state of mind for us to be proud enough to show tourists and say, come experience what it is to live as a Bahamian, because we think it's horrible. Yeah. That's the first problem.
But definitely won't get any indication downtown about what we like or
that's the second problem. And so the second thing is the things that we actually bring us joy, the things that we actually do naturally and natively, and that are this came here. We decided that this is what we're going to do with these stuff. We don't do it on Bay Street. We're not allowed to do it on Bay Street.
Well, I don't think we want to.
And Bay Street is not capable of supporting it except for December 26th and January 1st.
Barely.
And barely then, right? So it's like we need spaces where we can do the things that we would ordinarily do on an everyday basis, not just on the high holy days of Boxing Day and New Year's Day, right? Because that's what it is. Not just the special days. How do we live on an ordinary basis? Now, I will give the Ministry of Tourism and the other ministries involved the festivals, the summer festival. That's a step in the right direction.
It's not downtown, though.
No, and for good reason, because downtown cannot sustain it. The problem is downtown is owned by individuals who do not, for the most part, have any reason to invest or care about the Bahamas. Most of the people who own property downtown don't live in this country. And they are free to call it, they can't because they're not listening, because they're not even on this side of the planet. We need to take all that property back from them. The government needs to claim eminent domain, take all that back, bulldoze all those old buildings, need to say there's a cap on how many people could sell diamonds and emeralds on the same strip within a certain radius.
It's done all over the world.
It needs to be a cap on how many people could sell T-shirts bought out of Malaysia.
We asked a former minister of tourism, why don't you do this? He said, no, I don't think we can do that.
No, you're afraid to do it.
You absolutely can.
Do you have the political will to do it? Do you have the testicular fortitude, which apparently is the intestines to do it and not the testicles to do it? But whatever. Do you have any guts inside of that feeble body of yours to make the right decision and do it? Because if you don't, then we will continue down the road we are now. And so once again, the problem is we are trying to sell the wrong thing. We're trying to sell sun, sound, and sea as though that don't exist nowhere else on the planet. But we need to sell our culture. So improve, our culture, make the life of the average Bahamian so good that anybody would say, "Oh, I'd love to do that."
And I wish, and I know Bahamians
create the space for us to do it.
Bahamians don't see the value of going to some of the countries south of us, but you really should, because then you will see how Nassau, downtown Nassau, is a photocopy of all those other places. And this is why many people don't want to come. No, they don't want to come off the ship, because we saw that same T-shirt shop and that jewelry store and that other T-shirt shop and that other jewelry store in that same port we just came from.
I know what I encourage the evil capitalist millionaires to do, right? This is the time for you to rise up and shine, because what y'all do, y'all love to go and see something cool inside one place, and instead of buying the franchise, make a Bahamian version of it. I encourage you to do that, as opposed to just photocopying everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Culture.
But we were talking about the same thing we've been talking about, and this is very disturbing, right? And the minister in the report says, you know, we've heard that before too, that we're going to do something if they don't do something. But we've been saying that for so long. How much longer are you going to give them to ruin our product?
You know what? Here's the thing, Dwight. I would at this point, I would just be glad if when a Bahamian went, what is it, Victoria Street? Which one is it? Where's the road when you pass it, everything dies? It's after the Chinese restaurant. That's East Street?
I mean, it's pretty much East Street now, but
yeah. Right? So I would love that the same way where they turn a blind eye for all the other infractions. If I was to go set up shop in the Hotel Corona, got the whole place out and turned it into I don't know, some type of cabaret or nightclub or speakeasy or whatever, that everybody just say, and just look the other way.
Shantytown it up, Stephen. Do it.
No, I don't want people to live there.
No. I mean, but you know, a shanty business.
Yeah, just turn your head, avert your eyes. Don't look. There's nothing here to see.
Right. Yeah.
All right? And let me run electricity there. Don't treat me like how you treat the people in Portaski where they can't. They got to use generators. Let me get running water and electricity, and just look the next.
Yeah. Y'all never cared before, so what do you care for now? Just because the tourists are coming here now you want to bother me?
When people was in here shooting up heroin from where God knows, I don't know. When they're doing drugs and cocaine inside this building, y'all didn't care. When there's pooping on the walls, nobody care. But now, let little old Stephen make $5. Everybody went to chauffeur. Anyway, one point is, that's all I asked for. The same level of blind disinterest that you've allowed those rich people, that's the best word I could come up with, to run this country into the ground with. Give me that same level of blind disinterest to make $5 on Bay Street.
Interesting. Let's get through this quickly. We've got to take a break. This person says, with respect to the minister's remarks about Bay Street, why does it have to be about the tourists? Why aren't we beautifying Bay Street for us, Bahamians?
Yes.
Yeah, because the tourists will like it if it's something that right? if we like
that's
it,
what I'm saying.
they will
But
like
the culture,
it. Right.
the whole point of culture is they want to experience what we experience.
Right.
They want to know what we do. That is what the actual product is.
Not what tourist cruise ports all look like around the entire world.
Not to bring it back to McDonald's, but McDonald's, right? All over the world, if you go to McDonald's inside Southeast Asia, they have specialty items across the menu. The only thing that these people ever tried to do was that one time that guava cheesecake pie.
It was very good, though.
Yeah, well, I guess. Well, it wasn't good enough for them to keep it.
Are you sure? I think it's
I don't think it's
that's
still.
not advertised for them, though.
The whole point is, Dwight, it's like, even if you are a franchise, what about you is Bahamian? You need to have a dedicated Bahamian, and don't give me your old chicken and make sauce. And they know who they is. They know exactly who they is. Don't say, oh, what if we take the old chicken and make sauce? Bahamian love sauce. No. Give me something that works within your franchise, but also is authentically Bahamian. That speaks to the reality of Bahamian. So that at least when the tourists say, oh, let's go here. Oh, that's an interesting thing. I never had that. Let me try that. Something.
Yeah. All right. This message here, the same thing I was saying. It's so sad because just 10 years ago, downtown was popping at night. You had Bahama Joe's, Via,
Fluid. That wasn't 10 years ago.
Some of these were 10 years ago. Yeah.
No.
You're saying it's longer than that?
That's longer than 10 years.
No, man. Via was there, definitely. And Bamboo, Fluid, 10, 15 years ago.
You're right.
But now, Via, yes, is definitely a T-shirt shop. Downtown is a mess and filthy. Yeah, it's very sad. It's very, very sad.
And where are the horses? Where are the horses? Where are the Surreys?
Oh, you mean Equine. Okay. This person says here, Stephen, I'm a lawyer. I went to school for many years and I work 70 to 90 hours a week. I don't have to give my services away for free.
You don't.
Even on a contingency basis and the hope that I may get paid if people win. I would never come to you as a professional to ask you for your time, talent, or equipment for free.
They don't know what I do.
tell
So you probably have asked me for it for free. You don't, because you don't know what I do. But that's fine.
And tell you that I will pay you if my business idea, et cetera, is successful.
And listen, I'm not asking you to not do that. But I'm also going to say that you probably sell real estate and you make a nice hefty cut of that commission. And that's fine. If that's the life you want to live, that's fine. I'm saying there's a missed opportunity. And we have so many lawyers in this country. It'd be great if one of them would say, you know what? I'm just going to focus on not just getting money from poor people when they get arrested for murder, but also helping them to get some money from these rich oligarchs who are doing the worst to them.
Oh, dear. Okay, this one says, don't believe the hype. They have an agenda to put in those fake Bahamians that change. What now? What's change the names at the stores? Okay, I don't know. It's something about downtown. A conspiracy about downtown. Well, it's been allowed to continue for so long, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something nefarious going on. When you figure out how a taxi driver gets a license to operate multiple high-end jewelry stores, what, on Bay Street, and then solve... Okay. This took a turn. I don't know. Anyway, we'll leave that one there. Read that text off here, Stephen. We'll be back. When we come back, we're talking about the family. Don't turn away. Don't change the stations now because we're talking about something positive and encouraging, folks. Stick around and listen to what our guests have to say. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
I used to think of the bank as my personal ATM machine. If I wanted a new car, new furniture, a weekend trip to Miami, no problem, just max out the credit card or top up my loan. I was a big baller until I realized that 75% of my salary was going to pay back all those loans. Fidelity's personal financial coaching was the best solution. Fidelity gave me a plan with a debt consolidation loan that has a built-in savings that pays 5% interest. I now only have one low monthly payment plus money in my pocket. Give Fidelity Bank a call at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit any of Fidelity's locations or visit a website at fidelitygroup.com.
You're always on the go. We know life can be a daily rush. CIBC, First Caribbean, you can count on us. We make life easier. Manage your accounts at any time. Apply for a loan. It's easy when you bank online. We make life easier with choices that suit you. CIBC, First Caribbean.
When faced with an illness like cancer, we band together, and we at Cleveland Clinic in Florida have your back. From advanced cancer treatments to extra safety measures at all of our locations, we're with you on this journey. For every infusion and follow-up, for every step of the way, for every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic in Florida. Get the care you need when and where you need it. To learn more or connect with a local representative, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna on this Friday morning. And as promised, we are talking about the family. Family Week is coming up, and here to tell us all about this, we're very pleased to welcome from the National Organization Development Connections, the founder of this organization and the Marriage, Children, Family Alliance Movement, MacFam. Very pleased to welcome Principal Cheryl Joaquin Alexander. Good morning. Great to have you with us.
Yeah.
It's very long.
Yes, happy morning, Dwight.
Yeah.
And happy morning, Bahamas.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So we're happy to have you with us. All right. So a lot of questions for you. Let's begin with your organizations. Tell us about them and how they came about, and then we'll talk specifically about Family Week and what we can expect. But tell us about NOD and MacFam.
Okay. Thank you very much. So NOD Connections International was birthed in 2022 in direct response to Hurricane Dorian and the COVID-19 onslaught. We recognize, even before these events happened, the need for our people to become more self-reliant. And we didn't recognize that it would come so fast that the evidence and the manifestations of ours are not being as self-reliant as we need to be, would manifest itself. But so nonetheless, we had a hastened call to open or to have licensed NOD Connection. And this is a social enterprise concerned with finding socially innovative solutions to our societal problems. And MCFAM is actually the nonprofit arm of this consultancy.
Oh, MCFAM, not MacFam. Okay, that's better.
MCFAM, which stands for Marriage, Children, Family Alliance Movement. And so we have been so grateful to be working with the Ministry of Social Services and Urban Development and the Department of Gender and Family Affairs, who we collaborated with last year to initiate the inaugural National Family Week. And we're excited that year 2 is upon us, and we will be celebrating that July 25th through 31st.
Okay, so that's coming up. So why a Family Week? Why is that important?
Well, the Family Week, and it is actually, we follow in line with countries like the United States, Australia, Canada, the United Kingdom, who have had National Family Weeks for many years. And it is just to give space to our country to recognize the benefits of family, and also to hone in on some of the challenges and opportunities to strengthen family, which is the primary unit of society. Social psychologists have said that the family is the most powerful, the most economical, and the most humane unit of any society. And we want to bring light to that and to work to bring awareness to how we can develop this very important unit, crucial unit.
Yeah. All right. So what would you say? What's your overall impression of the state of the family in the Bahamas today? We've got a lot of callers, one in particular who calls and says that the family's in crisis. I would agree in many ways. But what's your view on it? How are we doing here in the Bahamas?
Okay, well, definitely the family, I would say, I would agree with the comment is that we are in crisis, but we must recognize that I think there's a Chinese proverb that, that crisis is opportunity. It's a warning, danger sign, and it's an opportunity. So we have many opportunities here to be able to help families in a real way.
Yeah, how do we do that? What needs to happen?
Well, first of all, one of the things that, as I mentioned earlier, that we saw was the need for for us to be self-sufficient. And what I call now is family sufficient, in that many times we are very individualistic in our way of thinking, that I myself and I can do it all. But we recognize, particularly after COVID, in COVID and after Hurricane Dorian, that the first people that we, or the persons who are thriving more, are those who have close families, those who have strong families, and those who are struggling are those who do not. Those who have to then, instead of turning into their families, have to go to social organizations, go to government for help. Whereas, many of us can fall into that need, it should not be it should not be pervasive. We should not be looking always at the government or other persons to be able to help us. We should work to strengthen our family unit, so that when these crises come about, which they will, which we are seeing, which are continuing, that we are able to survive as a unit and do better in being resilient.
Yeah. I hear you about the family support helping a lot of people to thrive, especially in difficult situations. But we know that there are a lot of people with some I don't know another way to put it, some bad families, some toxic families.
Right.
And that seems to be very pervasive around here. Let's talk about that and why that is, and what we can do to change that situation. What can somebody who is surrounded by this toxic energy from every single side of their family, what can they do?
Yes. And again, we have to, and it's unfortunate that, like you say, it seems to be generational, and, whether it's within the family or within society, the societies that they live in, the friends, the other persons, this unit that is supposed to be protective has actually become, like you say, toxic. And so we must, as a society, work to not take away the responsibility of the family in strengthening themselves, and that comes by education. We cannot just say, well, it is what it is, and many times we do it unintentionally by continuing to support the toxicity, as a matter of fact, instead of trying to go in there and help the members to be able to recognize that it is your responsibility to get out of this mess, so to speak, and to help them, to give them the help, but at the same time show them whether it's bit by bit, and then again when the problem is huge, it may seem overwhelming and just an easier thing to just give them and let them get by for a day, rather than helping them so that eventually they can, carry on longer into the future.
Yeah.
So that is the challenge right there, because in helping them, it's harder, but it is more sustainable.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's talk about Family Week. What we can expect. Is there an overall theme for this year?
Yes, the overall theme for the week is, in fact, family focus, our generational promise. And we will be having a symposium, a 2-day symposium at Super Club Breezes that will focus on family policy and programs that can help our nation to become more family focused, more family impact. We call family impact lens minded, in that we look at policies and programs from a family aspect. Many organizations look at it only from an economic and environmental lens, but we need to, as is encouraged by the United Nations and research-based evidence that looking at policies from family base will help us to be more sustainable in our development. And so we will have in Dr. Tim Rarick, who's a multi-time UN presenter. He is a marriage and family professor, and he will be sharing with us government policy makers, organizational policy makers and decision makers, how we can have a family lens and impact our organization, impact its productivity, impact its performance by having such a lens and becoming more humane in our approach.
Well, okay. All right. And when is that going to be?
Yes, that will be July 27th and 28th. It's a two-day symposium. We are so very, very happy to have Guardian Radio being our partners, because this event this week is actually will launch what we call the Bahamas Strong Families Forever initiative. And we're grateful for your vision and insight as to the impact of what this campaign can actually do. So this week is not a one-time thing or one-time program. It will continue into lead to actually our 50th year anniversary. In 2023, it will lead into the 30th anniversary of International Day of Families, which is in 2024, and ultimately to the achievement of our Sustainable Development Goals, the United Nations global goals for our world. And it has been said that families will be key to achieving those goals. And so we need now, particularly as we come up on our 50th year anniversary, to focus on families and making families stronger so that families can be the beneficial contributors to our economy.
Yeah, we are happy to partner with you on this. So if you want to attend the symposium, what do you need to do?
Yes, we are inviting you to give us a call at 393-2671 or 423-1250. There is a cost to it, but we're willing to work with you because obviously we're bringing in persons and Super Club Breezes is not free, but we want to help every single organization, government, NGO, civil society, business organizations, family organizations to be a part of this week and this campaign, because it is going to take all hands on deck for us to make an impact in our society. And I always say, Dwight, we're a small country. If we can do it in our small country, my God, there's very little hope for the world. And I do believe, and I'm very confident that we have the will. We just need to continue to recognize and put focus on the root causes of what our society is facing and address it, even though it's a hard thing to address. And sometimes it seems very overwhelming. And again, as I said earlier, to just, give the person it and, send them on their way rather than working with the families to find, as I said, more innovative, more sustainable help mechanisms for our society as a whole.
Absolutely. Any other events happening during the week? What else can we expect?
Yes, most definitely. We're starting off the week on Sunday, the 24th, which is the preface to our week of events, with a church where we will be attending a church service, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and that will start at 9:45. We'll be praying for the blessings of the events or the activities in the coming week, and also praying for the blessing of our families who are indeed suffering. We are suffering not only physically, but emotionally. We are suffering financially, And we need, uplift. We need restoration, and so we will be praying for that as we invite persons to come to that church service. And then on Monday, we will be hopefully making a number of courtesy calls on leaders of organizations, in addition to encouraging families to have a family movie game night. We have become so busy that we are not spending time with our families, and this is what we want to encourage. And so Monday we're gonna encourage families to spend some time with each other. Turn off the devices, turn off, whatever is distracting, and turn into the family, to your family members.
We need to do a whole show on that one, turning that off. That's going to be so challenging. Yeah.
Someone has said, a leader in a religious leader has said that, love is spelled Time, and love is a core need of every individual. And when persons and individuals don't feel that love, many times children don't feel that love, they're gonna act out, because it's a core need, and they may not say, well, I need love, but as you spend time with them, you show them that you love them, that they're important enough to spend time with them. And unfortunately, that is not happening in families, and that is where a lot of the breakdown is. And then on Tuesday, we will be the deadline. We're encouraging persons to send in their family photos, maybe photos of them on that Monday night that they would have spent time with each other. And we will be offering gifts for that. And Tuesday, again, we're hoping to make a governmental courtesy call and to be sharing with them what the plans are, and how we need the government support. We need majorly, the government must be the leaders in this. And as I said, we are happy to have social services, but there's always room for improvement in terms of support and alliance. And on Wednesday and Thursday, as I said, we have the symposium at Super Club Breezes. Please call us, every single organization who expects to be successful in this post. We haven't reached there yet. We're still traversing this COVID situation, but who expects to be successful, who expects to have sustainable success, must attend this symposium. It is crucial to get that knowledge as to how you can do it. How you can do it by tapping into the people, the families, the organizational families that are most important for any organization. So I beg of the government organizations, private organizations, every single organization to have a representative at this symposium. And then on Friday and Saturday are T-shirt days. T-shirts will be available and we're hoping that persons would get would purchase T-shirts and to show their support for the family. Friday night, we're encouraging spouse date night.
Oh, wow.
Spouse date night, which again is critical in strengthening families, because we're seeing, particularly in the COVID, there's been a lot of divorces. And divorces don't only affect the partners, they affect the children, they affect that family structure. And there's something that must be done about trying to help persons not get divorced. It's such an easy fix for us to say get divorced, and I have been a victim of that, and I wish I knew what I say a victim because I didn't know what I do now, and I believe that if I did, I may not be a divorcee. And we know that from research, a lot of it is really selfishness that causes divorce, the root cause. And so the person who will be talking to us, he will be, Dr. Eric will be talking about that, about marriage and how we can better our marriages and create stronger bonds in our marriages, in addition to talking about parenting and the rest of it. And so Saturday, again, will be fun night. Will be fun, and we're planning some activities for that.
Yeah.
And then on Sunday, we are encouraging churches, the church of your choice, to take your family to church. Delton Fernando, president of Bahamas Christian Council, has and really worldwide, we have seen a decrease in families going to church and individuals going to church. And so we want to encourage you and even encourage churches to have Family Sunday. This Sunday that's coming up, we understand that Bahamas Harvest is having something for the elderly. And that is awesome. And we need to get in touch with them to see how we can work together with them on that. Because the elderly, again, are part of the weakest links within the family.
Absolutely.
that we must support.
Yes.
And so I was happy to hear about that activity. We have and then also on the Sunday, we are encouraging after church, we always have the big meals and whatnot. We want to encourage families to pray within their homes. And we're setting the time for that at 3 p.m. that every family, get on their knees and pray for the strength of their families.
Yeah.
Because it's that crucial. It's that crucial to the individual members. It's that crucial to our nation and to our economies. As family leaders, and we're hoping that those family that don't have a male in their home, that they will connect with a male somehow, and to invite that male into their homes to pray with their families.
Wow. Yeah.
One of the breakdown is that we are believing that the man is not needed in the home, and that is such a fallacy. We need men in the home.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah, we can feel your passion there, Cheryl.
Yes.
All right. So if people want to find out more information, if they want to attend these events, where can people get information? Where can they contact you? Where can they reach you? Give us that information in our final minute here.
Thank you so much. And again, first of all, I just want to thank you so much, Dwight, for your vision in seeing the power that can come out of this campaign and us pulling together and having Guardian Radio, of course, partner with us moving forward. Persons can contact us at 393-2671 or 423-1250 or email us at Cheryl AWA@nodconnections.com or nodc@gmail.com. And we will be sure to find a way for you to partner in helping us to crusade for the strengthening of families.
Wonderful
Thank
stuff.
you so very much, Dwight.
No problem. And I will post this on our page as well so people can get a handy way to reach you all. But keep up the great work. We appreciate the passion. And Cheryl, Joaquin, Alexandria, thank you so much for talking with us this morning. And good luck with and happy Family Week to you and to everybody out there.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back in Morning Blend Business, we are talking about tips and minimum wage and the controversy that's brewing now. We've got Darren Woods, the president of the Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union, with us. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, July 22nd, 2022. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Stephen Hanna. And this morning we are talking about minimum wage and tips. And for some reason, I'm a little perplexed, but maybe our guests will be able to understand and explain to us why there's some controversy with some business owners who are saying that those who, I believe that's what they're saying, those who are paid in tips shouldn't
what?
Get an increase in the minimum wage if that is going to happen. Well, we'll ask our guest Darren Woods about that. He's the president of the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union. Good morning, Darren Woods. Always a pleasure to have you with us. Good morning. Okay, we can't hear him. He's muted. Darren, you're muted. Unmute your mic for us, please.
Okay, good morning. I
go.
thought the host was going. Good morning, Mr. Strachan and your guests.
Hi.
And also, good morning, Bahamas. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I try as best as I can to facilitate, despite all that's going on.
I appreciate it. I always appreciate it. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so what's going on here? There are people who think that folks shouldn't get an increase in minimum wage because they make tips?
Of the unsure nature of tips.
Well, what the request was made by the president of the Bahamas Hotel Tourism Association is for the government to take into consideration the gratuities that the persons would make while they in contemplation of them coming up with a minimum wage rate. And what the suggestion is to whatever the rate is, offset it with whatever gratuity that they would make. I mean, kind of in a nutshell. So for us, there's no controversy, to be honest, because at the end of the day, they are making, or they are trying to I guess, coerce the government into looking at the sector special. Because I think the question was, can we get special consideration? Well, from the union's vantage point, this is not the first time that minimum wage would have been increased. As a matter of fact, when the minimum wage came into play in 2001, it established a minimum wage, and since then it has been increased time over time. And of course, their request would have been the same. Of course, any increase in the minimum wage will adversely affect the business. And so, for us, there's no controversy.
All right. So what are they proposing? That there be two different ones, like one's for those who make gratuities and one's a different minimum wage for those that don't?
Yeah. What we gather from the statement of, I think it was on the news and it appeared, I think, in the Tribune, that they want, if let's say Darren makes whatever. Let's say the minimum, they're considering the minimum wage to go to $250. Darren makes $190 a week, but he gets another maybe $100 or so in gratuity, or $50 in gratuity, right? Mm-hmm. Or let's say less than $50. Let's say $30.
Because that's not a constant. Gratuity isn't constant.
Well, I mean, that's why for us, how could you tie something that is supposed to be constant to something that fluctuates?
Right.
And so what they're asking is, if the government is going to set minimum wage, let them set their minimum wage and also take into consideration the gratuity that they would get, so that the employer at the end of the day would have to pay less on the minimum wage side.
Yeah, no, that's insane. What's it to them, though? What's it to them?
Because they wouldn't have to come up with the minimum wage side. And if I can just take you back into a little bit of history, right? In 1974, April 21st, the gratuity was established in the industry, right? And it was established for food and beverage at 15%, buffet service at 10%, and beverage at 10 also. And the reason gratuity was established was because the employer did not want to pay wages. Mm-hmm. So they came up, or the idea evolved that, okay, maybe we could give something similar, like the commission-like type thing, we could give something, and then what we could try to do is get the customer who's coming in to supplement the wages.
Honestly, that
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And so over the years, that is how it is, because the industry was pretty much a service-dominated industry at the time.
Right. Okay.
Okay?
And honestly, that needs to be relooked at completely, in my opinion, because once again, gratuity is not something that's constant.
Right.
And if you have people doing a job, because it's not like if I'm wait staff, if in between customers I could go work my second job or something. Right. If I'm here during this time from this hour to this hour, I should be compensated for my time on the job. So it's like I personally think that the whole idea of gratuity, it should be gravy on top of an existing meal. It shouldn't be, this party a meal.
Right.
You know, so I do not see how any right-thinking individual would even present that. But then again, we're talking about evil capitalists. So,
and you are so correct, right? Because at the end of the day, when you look at gratuities, the banks does not include gratuities as wages.
They can't, because it fluctuates, right? Because
the only time gratuity is kind of considered is now under the national insurance, where the employees now have to pay out of their gratuities the 5 or whatever the percentage, the full blunt of national insurance from their gratuities, and whatever their employee portion is from their wages. So for the gratuity purpose, they are treated as, in our minds, self-employed persons, but they are unable to reap the full benefit of a self-employed person. And so when you start talking about gratuity, it has to be looked at, and that's why we said you cannot tie gratuity to your wage. So what are you saying when September, October, November comes, and the first part is when it's traditionally slow in the industry, are you saying that the government would at that point subsidize the wages of the employees?
No.
Are you saying that?
You're going to run me in.
Who is going to police it?
All right, we're getting lots of questions about that, but I want to ask you, so have you heard anyone propose, well, if we do increase the minimum wage and we need to revisit the gratuity issue, and how would the union feel about that? If people say, this is, because a lot of customers complain about the automatic gratuity.
Right.
Would you be open to?
Well, let's address the gratuity, right? Because because when you talk about the whole industry has used the concept that was actually created in a unionized environment, right? And it has exploded. But when you talk about the automatic gratuity and it's for service, if something goes wrong, if Dwight goes into a particular place and something happens, he needs to alert whomever it is, and it is addressed. You see, that's what people don't understand, that it is addressed, okay? And once it is addressed, and then we move forward. You also find that some places that you go, they use the gratuity to operate with. Some employers. They charge a gratuity outside of a unionized environment, and they use the gratuity for all sorts of things. And also, where in a unionized environment, or the concept was for employees who make a certain amount of money, you find that there are managers who get out of the gratuity also. You see?
They probably underpaid as well. But so, I mean, once again, sorry.
Go on, Darren.
No. I thought he was going to say something.
Yeah. But so you're finished. I mean, did you answer? I mean, so would you be open to reevaluating this and seeing if it is still necessary today?
You mean in terms of wherever the minimum wage falls?
No, whether or not we should perhaps just have a proper salary and then get rid of the gratuity. If you get tipped, you get tipped.
Right.
But tipping isn't banned, but the gratuity being
the automatic
to
portion
avoid this whole thing together.
Well, without getting into our negotiations in the public arena, right? We are looking at something that would also enhance the gratuity collection. But because if you're talking about eliminating gratuities completely, right? You now have to look at what the employees would normally make on whatever it is, the high season, the low season, and come up with an average.
Yeah.
That would be difficult to do. You see what I'm saying?
It's a number. I think the gratuity is playing a game of chance right now because, yeah, sure, in the 90s or in the 80s when there was the heyday of when money was like water, and everybody was tipping $100 off of air. The taxi drivers still remember those days, but those days gone, right? And so what ends up happening is people are building dreams based on things that no longer exist. I think that perhaps, especially if you want to get somebody who's working inside a restaurant and you want them to be able to afford a mortgage and afford these different things and afford not luxury in life, but the necessities of life, they have to have a proper base to build off of. And so I think that a flat-out salary might be the way to go, and you still are allowed to get tipped, right?
Anything that improves the livelihood of the people that we represent, we will be there to look at. But to sit in a vacuum and say, well, if this happened, that is going to happen, because at the end of the day, we know that our industry is pretty much, before time it used to be half of the year. We've evolved to pretty much a 9 months industry. And so we have to look at creative ways when those times are down, because when you see our people start to retire, before they included gratuities from the national insurance from your gratuities, when they would have retired, they retire on whatever their base wage is. So now there is a combination of both now, which is good, right? So whatever is there for us to look at for the improvement of them, we'll be prepared to look at it. And then, of course, at the end of the day, it would be our members who guide us into the direction that we should go in.
All right, you touched on it a bit. This texter is asking, well, who ensures that the grats are actually paid to the staff? I've heard of situations where the gratuities are kept by the owner. You mentioned that. So how widespread is this problem?
It sounds like everybody outside of a union.
Yeah. Well, for us, because it's a unionized environment, it is regulated because the union and its members will then come up with a distribution formula, right? That says on a given week, on a given day, whatever's collected, this amount goes to this person, this amount goes to that group of people, and this amount goes to the other group, and then it's distributed. There is also a check and balance for all gratuities that is collected in our environment, so that we can say that if it was $100 collected in gratuity for the week, and 10 persons supposed to get out of that, those 10 persons would have gotten their gratuities. But now, I cannot speak to how it is done outside of a unionized environment. We can only tell you about the horror stories that we would have been told.
Let me ask you a question. Within the environment, the unionized environment, how the gratuity goes 100% to the workers, or is there like what's the split?
Yeah, all of the gratuities collected goes to the bargaining unit workers. And all of those who contribute to that service, you will find, we got it like the front of the house, the back of the house, and then you have within the front of the house, you'll have different tiers of people.
Right.
Would be the server.
No, but it doesn't go to the restaurant.
But no, it doesn't go to the restaurant.
Okay.
All right.
Our environment.
So, as you said, outside of the union environment, so they're restaurants that are not attached to hotels, and as far as we know, the staff's not unionized, but they've got automatic gratuity.
They're not unionized.
What? I mean,
because they're evil.
What's going on there, and why has that been allowed to continue for so long?
Well, because again, when you open up an establishment and you present yourself, and someone presents himself for a job, the employer will say, this is what we do, right? And because they see the gratuity as, we always, in some other places we say, they try to use it as a slush fund, right? Because they see that the gratuity can be good, they try to limit what the employees get. And of course, for them, if it doesn't count against, it actually goes to their bottom line when you look at it. Because let's say I could use 1% or 2% of the gross gratuities collected, and I could use that maybe to replenish utensils, but pay this or pay the whatever it is, and it doesn't come out of my cost. You see what I'm saying? Because don't forget now, the gratuity is not paid by the employer. They only the custodians of it to collect it. So anything that they could generate or get from that is, as he said, gravy.
My goodness. Wow. All right. So I just want to talk a little bit more about this. We're getting some messages about it, this whole situation there, and how this is impacting service in the industry. Because people have been saying that for decades, right? There's really little incentive to go above and beyond when this is automatic. Is that right? Because it sounds like they're barely going to get much of this anyway. But where do you stand on it? I can imagine. But how should we, the public consumers, see this? Should we be resentful of it, or should we feel guilty when we don't add an additional tip? What should be our thoughts on this?
Well, at the end of the day, Bahamians are very vocal, right? If they go any particular place, if they go into whatever store they go into and they don't receive the service that they expect, and there's nothing different when they come into an area where you pay gratuity for service, because again, I say it, gratuity is for service rendered. And so if there is a problem with the service, you first have to analyze what has happened. Because I could go into a restaurant and let's say the food might take a little bit long, right? That's no fault of the server. You follow what I'm saying? So we have to look at what contributed to that service and then act accordingly. But a lot of times they say, well, the server didn't do this, and the server took long to bring my food, and the food came out cold. Again, the server will be the one to put the order in, but the server won't be the one to cook the food. And at the end of the day, the person who's responsible for cooking the food, there may be some challenge with them receiving what they're supposed to get. In terms of preparing,
sometimes the server messes up though. Sometimes the server not paying attention to me, didn't write down the order.
Regardless of any of that, the problem is that the restaurant is one entity. When I go to a restaurant, I don't know these people as individuals. I don't know who the chef is. I don't know who the line staff is inside the back there. I don't know who the bartender is. I came to this restaurant. Right. This restaurant is the person culpable for giving me good service. So anywhere along that chain, if it's broken, it's going to reflect poorly on the restaurant and not necessarily the one person. Because when I see the person on the road, I don't know who the person is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I agree. But understand what I'm saying. When we talk about it in terms of addressing the individual concern, we then now have to go in and see where the breakdown was. Because if it was on the service end, meaning the server, as Dwight would have said, didn't pay attention. Because I've been in restaurants where the person or the server didn't pay attention. Or the server was not at the standard that they should have been at. And of course, because I value the service industry, there would be a communication with the server and whomever is responsible. Because I would say, listen, man, you're in this business to provide service. Yes, you may be receiving this, but even though you're receiving it, you should be able to say that, listen, I am justified in receiving whatever I get because I'm working for it.
This is even more reason though to have a proper base salary, because if let's say I go inside, let's say I go to a restaurant, right, and I order something, the server says, okay, X, Y, and Z. They take down the correct order, they carry it to the chef. The chef decides he still won't put mushrooms in it. They send out mushrooms. My wife is deathly allergic to mushrooms. She goes into anaphylactic shock or whatever. Or even something less pretend, not even that serious. I just don't like mushrooms. They put mushrooms on it. I send it back. I have to send it back twice for them to get the memo, no mushrooms or whatever, right? If I say, you know what, I don't want to pay the gratuity or whatever because of X, Y, and Z, the person who is then serving me, who did their complete job, doesn't suffer directly because of that person. They don't go home and say, boy, I know if I can make rent this month because somebody else messed up along the line. Because once again, like I said, we're coming in there as the restaurant, looking at the restaurant as a whole. But if everybody have their base, then it's like, okay, the fact that we did not receive gratuity or whatever from this person doesn't mean that we're going to starve to death this week or this month. And then the other person who is incorrect now, because y'all ain't getting paid on a case by case basis. Y'all getting paid a flat salary. That's going to what's the word called? Competition. Other people are gonna be like, well, I could do this job, and so now you have to compete for your job, and you have to strive to be better at your job. And so I think that all these things actually argue for not just a case for everybody inside the industry to be paid minimum wage, but probably be paid better than minimum wage, so that you can have this is a good base to start off with. This is a job that you want, and then once again, everything else just be gravy. But that's Stephen's opinion. That's Stephen's socialist opinion on the matter.
Let me just say now that we do have places where place that we represent where that is a restaurant environment that the employees do not get gratuity, and they have what you are talking about now, where there's a flat, a base pay, a guaranteed base pay that would supplement that would give them what you're talking about. But when you talk about if you go into the environment that we're in and there's a service issue and you have a base pay, how would you deal with that service issue? Because let me say again, if there is a service issue as it relates to the gratuity, the guest is complaining about it, it is dealt with once it's brought to the proper authority's attention.
Yeah, but I mean,
even though people say, well, it's automatic.
Yeah, but gratuity can't be the only way that you deal with an issue inside a restaurant. It has to be other ways. Because that's like saying if I went to a food store or a gas station and I had an issue with the service there, and there's like, oh, well, I ain't gonna tip the gas pump attendant. No, that's not how it works. If I complain to the manager, something should be done. Like they comp your meal, or they do something, or they say, oh, we apologize, we're gonna rectify this, we could do whatever. There are other ways to address it, and then even with that employee, there are ways to address, particularly if the employee is at fault. There are other ways to address this stuff other than simply using gratuity. Because when the problem with using gratuity in such a means, it quickly becomes a tool where the employees have to do whatever the person in charge says. Otherwise, like, because this person holding your life in their hands. Like, if they could remove your gratuity for a weird infraction, and you know that that's 60% of your income, you know, that's a whole different power dynamic that you're talking about.
Let's talk about it. Can you refuse to pay the gratuity? Does that happen, and what are the ramifications of that?
But the same thing that Stephen says happens, right? And that's why I say once the guest comes into whatever establishment it is they go in, and there's a challenge, the manager will then step in and deal with it, whether, as he say, comp, reverse, or whatever the fact may be.
But you can't just decide not to do it.
But that would be up to the manager's discretion, because they would have to hear whatever the challenge was and then make that decision. And then it goes from the manager and then is matriculated up to whomever the level is. But at the front end, the manager will deal with it.
Okay, so
it has happened.
And if you just say, "I'm not paying that,"
But then you can't just say, "I'm not paying."
The police will be called.
No. You cannot go into an environment that says this is what has happened and decide, well, I'm going in there. Oh, I didn't really like the food. I'm not paying. You see, because when you begin to open the door, you know how we go, right? We'll eat everything. Oh no, it wasn't no good, so I'm not paying. You see what I'm saying? It has to be justified, and that's why you cannot put a blanket situation on it. It has to be a case by case where the manager who's empowered to make those decisions.
Okay. All right. We're getting some calls and a lot of text messages. We'll get to the text messages in a bit. Caller, good morning. You're on Morning Blend Business. We're talking with Darren Woods with the Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union. Good morning.
Quick question. If they eliminate the 15% and now the employer is responsible for paying his wages, that means they're going to have to raise their prices, probably back to the 15% to offset the extra cost that they're going to be incurring by having to pay all of their employees a flat salary, who in the tip category. So I think we're still in a back to square one from 1974 when they instituted it, so that the operational costs for businesses, especially hotels that employ thousands of persons, it isn't as, I don't think it's simple as eliminating the gratuity and everybody making a flat salary, because the reason why they did it is the employers was trying to offset costs for their operations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to be clear now, there's no discussion.
Right. I was going to ask you.
Eliminating.
Right. I was going to ask you if that is even being discussed. It's not being discussed. Not really.
Yeah. Let me make that clear.
Okay. But if they were to,
well, once again, my whole thing is I get that like, oh yeah, that's offset. They're trying to offset their costs. Of course, they're trying to offset their costs. But the cost of doing business is that you have employees. You need to take care of your employees. That's the first thing that you should do if you have employees. Like all this other stuff, if you cannot afford to pay 50 people a decent salary, then you cannot afford 50 people.
If that were to be proposed, though, what would the union's response be? Like, we'll say, well, let's just do this and bam. Would that be problematic? Who would that hurt more? What would be the likely outcomes?
If what you mean?
If they're proposing, like, hey, let's do away with this once and for all, and then everybody can start off at the new minimum wage. What would be the union's reaction to that?
Well, the reaction is we'll have to see, again, if something like that were going to be discussed, right, we would have to look at what the persons would have made over whatever the period is and what is projected to be made. And like the caller say, when you talk about it, you're now placing the full brunt of paying the wages for those employees on the employer, who has to then find, I mean, every time something don't go in their favor, they're able to raise their prices, which is one of the comments I made, right? But how would that affect the industry as a whole? But I still believe that there is a possibility for the government to come up with what they call a livable wage, and no doubt that they're going to look at all of the industries that fall below the minimum wage, the present minimum wage, and try to come up with something that is, I guess, palatable. Because in the outset, every time it's time for the discussion on minimum wage, the employers say the same thing, which is, of course, is expected. Because no one is going to allow you to put something on them right away when they know it's going to cut into whatever their profit margin is.
See, and
clear on how they're going to recoup it.
I hear you, and I mean, part of the problem for me is all this cutting. They cutting in the wrong places because and once again, this is me. I know most of it. If they cut the fat from the top,
where I think you're going, me and you saying the same thing.
Right? They need to cut the fat at the top and not with the workers, because all of the value of any company is with the workers. If the workers ain't happy, your company is going to start making less money because they're going to work slower. Because they tired of y'all foolishness. They're gonna say they're not gonna put their life into it, because they see the last time somebody died on this job, y'all replaced them in 2 weeks with somebody who y'all paying half the amount of money that you pay the person who died. Y'all don't care about us, so why we gotta care about y'all? If you care about your employees will go out of their way. Some of these employees will take a pay cut to keep a business running if they like the people they working for. But nowadays, these employees don't like y'all because y'all don't like them. Y'all want slaves. Y'all don't want employees. And so, once again, invest where you're supposed to invest. This whole thing where, if we get to pay them a fair salary, then we have to fire somebody. Keep chatting to people and see what happens.
Okay.
But
Darren, yes?
And here's my response to that, right, is we always say that when inflation when things begin to inflate, particularly in the business world, the employer has the ability to increase their prices to offset the inflation.
Yeah, but they don't increase the pay.
Yeah, the same employee, on the other hand, when inflation goes up around them, they don't have the opportunity to increase their pay. Yeah. They have to now look at ways that they actually have to cut what they're doing to just try to make ends meet. You follow what I'm saying?
They ain't get no gas allowance.
No.
All right, this texter says, I'm sorry, but your guest, talking with you, Darren, is wrong. Service is service, including the time for your meal, etc. It's not the patron's job to figure out where the problem went wrong. At the end of the meal, your tip should be based on the experience.
And the texter surely didn't hear what I said, because I am not suggesting that it is the patron's job to find out what happened. I said that what the patron should do is bring it to the manager's attention, who is empowered to deal with it, and it will be dealt with in the appropriate manner. I'm not suggesting, because it's not the patron's job to find, because if I come into a restaurant, I expect good service. I expect to get whatever it is I came into, because you're selling the service to me.
Yeah.
So I expect to get what you're selling. If that doesn't happen, you shouldn't walk out the restaurant and say, I had a bad thing in there. Or at the same token, we cannot put in a system that is blanket to say if people feel like they shouldn't pay, they shouldn't pay. Everything has, because while there are laws in place in the country, a police can't just decide to just write you up and then you are just charged and you're sent to jail. He writes you up and you go to jail. There's another process in the way to find out exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then it is adjudicated and then a judgment is then rendered.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Here's a call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight, Stephen, and morning, Mr. President.
Hi.
Hey, Dwight, I have been buying the newspaper for the last 20 odd years. I have never once heard Sandy Sands throw a blow for benefits for Bahamians. Okay? He have a problem paying Bahamians $40 more. When it comes to the summertime, when it gets slow, them steam employees, they go out on 1 or 2 days. Okay? So their tip is not automatic. In fact, tip is never guaranteed. Because anytime a customer, like I say, don't like the service, the tip is removed. All right? So that's not such thing as a guarantee tip. Tip is provided for service rendered. All right? So those employees, when they're on 1 or 2 days, they need that $40 more. But you have a problem with employees getting $40 more to increase the lifestyle and also the cost of living, you know?
Not increase, to maintain.
I heard Sandy throw a blow for Bahamanization. I have never once heard any Bahamian who went to another hotel to say he understudying them as far as he grooming them to be where he is. Okay? So tell him stop that.
Wow.
And I concur with Mr. President. Thanks and have a great day.
Okay. All right. Oh, boy. Well, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. You're on. All right. So is it the line that's having the issue, or did it get abducted by Martians? What's going on? That's the second time this morning. Okay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Strachan.
Hi.
And good morning, Mr. Woods.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, I'm glad I got you on. I'm agreeing with the narrative, especially the last caller as far as the one-way paradigm. But this is a unique situation, but it has something to do with the union and the pension fund and all of that. And so it's something that could easily be solved with just the national insurance work itinerary, and then it shows my employment history, right? And so it actually gives my employment history. But the union, the pension fund, has me exempted for 3 years. That's 3 to 4 years. They have me quitting in 98 when it was actually 2000, and then they have me starting in 93 when it was actually 89. And so those exemptions exempt me from being able to get my pension at 55. And so I want to know, I was trying to get this done for years now. Well, why does the onus fall on the employee to go and litigate this and do? Why would I need a lawyer to do that when this can easily be solved by just national insurance has nothing to do with the pension fund? But what I'm saying is the union. I'm just calling to make note of this because this is a unique situation. The union needs something needs to be done because it's like me. Yes, with the arrogant.
Okay, this is not our topic today. But I mean, do you want us to get your contact numbers and give it to the president? 52, we can do that. Let's put them. Yeah, let's put them on hold.
And the union does not. Just so I can make it clear, the union does not control the pension fund. The pension is a separate entity, but there's also statements that have been given to the employees over the course of the year. Every June, they're given a statement. They're asked to check it, to verify that the information is there, that is correct. Because, I mean, people input these information into the system, and anything could happen. But I don't see them up together. I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
But I have no difficulty trying to get some information for him.
Okay.
But I'd go and get the information.
Yeah. All right. And one more call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning again.
Hi.
I forget it rained last night. I know it rained that next night. You see up above.
I hope that's not the case. But we'll get BTC to check it out. But anyway, thank you. Okay.
Yes. What I wanted to ask, okay, I went into a restaurant the other day and placed an order. And when I got my meal, it was quite the opposite. Actually, I never noticed it until I got home. Can I go back to that restaurant, speak to the management, and have my gratuity either added to my other meal or get back? Yeah, because it was really terrible. The person who took my order, I asked for grilled snapper. I got fried fish.
Okay. Well, you know the answer to the question.
And I paid for grilled snapper. I didn't pay for the fried fish. Is like almost $7 less.
Oh boy. Okay, let's let Darren Woods answer, but you know the answer.
I gotta call them.
I don't know I don't know what's the policy to the whichever place that she would have gone to. So I really can't answer that.
Wow.
Gotta call the place immediately and tell them. And
Not even?
and lodge that.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying like call them immediately and say, hey, this X, Y, and Z, this is happening.
Right. All right. So what happens next? You've got some within the hotel industry talking like this, Darren. And what happens next? What's the union going to do? Are you lobbying? Are you talking to the government? Will you?
I mean, in all fairness, it is only, and I think, anyhow. Here's what the president of the Bahamas Tourism Association made a I guess a suggestion to the government. And if you watch and I said to the person who I spoke to, the minister's response was he pretty much laughed, right? But I said, we take it serious because, sometimes you plant some seeds expecting, anytime you plant a seed, you expect to see something sprout from that seed, correct?
Right.
And so when this particular present administration, when there was something that affected our industry, i.e. the elimination of the emergency order, we were consulted and contacted each step of the way. And what I said to all and sundry, and I did place a call to the minister, he did call me, but we have not connected. I said that we expect, not the tripartite council, we expect for the hotel union to be consulted and contacted as it relates to if they are going to consider the request that was made by them. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we are the persons responsible for the industry, so we know how and what happens in this industry as it relates to gratuity and minimum wage. So we don't see that there being an inducement by one side without hearing the other side. And so we are going to lobby. Our voices will be heard as relates to any consideration to create a two-tier wage system for persons who collect gratuity.
Okay, all right. We only have a couple minutes left. I want to ask you about this. I don't know if you saw this report. This aired last night. I was taken aback by it. A very unusual report. Very union leaders responding to the action of the airport workers earlier in the week. And saying that they thought it was a rookie move by the president of the BPSU to have the workers do this industrial action. And I've never heard anything like this from other union leaders. Maybe it's happened before, but I can't recall. I don't know if you saw this report, Darren Woods, but
no, it's in the news. I've not seen
it. It was on the news last night.
No, I didn't see the news last night.
Very odd. They came out and condemned the action, saying this was a rookie move and this is unusual to put your workers at risk and in jeopardy of potential penalties or fine or job. Well, what do you make of that? What are we seeing the different umbrella unions warring with each other? Is that what this is?
Here's what I would say, right? We have different unions who represent different factions of society, but we all supposed to have the same ideology. Our philosophy may differ in how we do some things, right? But if I would have made, and if you chalk it up to me being a rookie mistake, I believe it's incumbent on you as one union leader to another, or one leader. Let's put it straight across the board to another to say, listen, call me up and say, listen, that what you did was, I wouldn't have done it that way, and kind of guide them along the way. But I think it's cannibalistic for us in the movement or in any operation to be condemning openly, castigating openly other leaders, because remember now, whatever you do comes back to you. And if people are going to take us seriously, while we again serve in different areas, our ideology should be the same, wanting the best for the workers. And so I didn't see it, and I'm saying it shouldn't happen in any quarters of society. No leader, I believe, should be calling another one out. I mean, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when you look at it, we have different denominations, right? But according to us, we are serving one God. Because our kind of philosophy may be different on how we worship God or which we do. But It shouldn't happen in that arena, and I don't believe it should happen in any other arena.
Yeah. I thought it was bizarre. I'll send it to you when I get there.
Thank you.
So you can take a look at it. But Darren Woods, thank you so much. I appreciate you talking to us this morning. Always a pleasure. And hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Man.
We're going to take a quick break and then be back to wrap things up. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Parents, it's that sweet time of year again.
What are you talking about me, Christmas yet?
The kids are going back to school, so pick up your copy of the Nassau Guardian's Back to School Supplement, because
it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Put your students in the latest styles at the lowest prices, because summer break is almost over, and our Back to School Supplement is filled with brand name back to school supplies at discounted prices, store locations, hours, and contact details.
It's the happiest season of all.
Advertisers, call the Nassau Guardian today at 302-2300 or call your account executive to get in on the 2-for-1 insertion deal. If it's uniforms, shoes, books, backpacks, calculators, art supplies, laptops, tablets, or whatever is on your back-to-school supply list, your ad should be in the Nassau Guardian's Back to School Supplement.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Palms National Trust Executive Director Eric Carey expressing concern about the recent diesel leak in Exuma, questioning if marine life was impacted. Carey saying, quote, anytime there is any foreign substance that enters the marine environment, there is certainly cause for concern. There's going to be impact on the shoreline. There's going to be stain. If there were any shorebirds nesting in the area, they would certainly be impacted. I don't know if any of that has been determined. You can read more about his comments in today's Guardian Business section. As tourism picks up, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Aviation and Investments Chester Cooper says his ministry is looking to push more authentic Bahamian offerings and businesses to the downtown area. Cooper, along with the executive team at the Ministry of Tourism, touring the downtown area yesterday, talking with vendors and tourists, as well as to review the product offering and the main port of entry for millions of tourists visiting the country each year. Cooper also saying the government must move quicker to fix downtown, calling the state of the area unacceptable. He says the government will not wait for property owners to repair their dilapidated buildings. He revealed last month that the Ministry of Works, in collaboration with the Attorney General's office, tore down the first of several derelict buildings in the downtown area, and that the government was drafting new legislation to govern the management of the city center. And speaking to the lagging technological advances in certain areas of the region, Prime Minister Philip Davis questioning whether it's time for the Bahamas and the rest of the Caribbean to open themselves up to more competition. He was a keynote speaker at the Canto Annual Conference and Trade Exhibition in Miami. Earlier in the week, Davis said that the region has yet to take full advantage of the digital revolution and has a unique opportunity to create smart cities complete with 5G technology, expanded access to always-on connectivity, and cashless ecosystems. More of these stories in today's Guardian Business section. In your market watch, recapping trading on the BISX, the Commonwealth Bank moving 20,000 shares, closing down 4 cents to 360. Fidelity Bank moving 2,000 unchanged at 18.10. Finco moving 1,000 up 75 cents to $11. Consolidated Water down 8 cents to 284. Emira Incorporated down 19 cents to 11.25. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,614.58, up 3.66. That's your Market Watch, and that is your Morning Business Report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. And that is it for today. Stephen Hanna, thank you so much for being here. Have a great weekend. And I'll be back on Monday morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight, have a great one. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
Sign your basketball teams up today for the Michael Scooter Reed Peace on the Streets Basketball Classic, August 1st through the 7th at the Hope Center. Get ready for the pastors versus politicians, along with the Phil Lightburn Slam Dunk Contest, then an Energy 3-point shootout, along with all championship games, live in living color at the Kendall G. Liza Gymnasium, Sunday, August 7th, beginning at 5 p.m. That's the Michael Scooter Reed Peace on the Street Basketball Classic. For more information, contact 601-484.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.